frustrating. That's frustrating when you get past the fourth fight, but you still don't finish. But that's that game. Anyways, guys, yeah, this is week 3 of Speedrunning Underground. Spikevegeta. I'm joined today once again by JHobz.
What's up?
And we're gonna be bringing you guys today one of my favorite casual experiences the last few years. And I know this was a game. The last time Hobson and I were doing some stuff together, we did a competition named War. And Hobbs, actually, we did this 1 week randomly. We did Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition. I sort of moved on. You liked it enough to where you stuck with this game, actually.
Yeah, so I've had like an eye on this game since basically its release, like a week after it came out or something. I've been kind of taking a look at speedruns of it and stuff, and it's awesome. I've always just fucking loved it. So finally learned it after War. And for War, and then after that, like, really learned it. And I put it down, occasionally for other games and stuff, but it's super cool, man. I love this game.
It looks like from the outside looking in, I mean, this game went through so many phases as a speedrun with, I remember kind of the early days of it in the original Ori and the Blind Forest, all the different the routing, kind of what it was. And then forget the name of the runner who came along and just like absolutely destroyed the game. You can actually beat this game in like 10 minutes or something. Like there's a ridiculous like any percent category. We're actually not going to be doing that for you guys today.
Eventually, because it would be a lot more boring.
Yes. I don't even know how necessarily boring it would be, but this is a great, well-balanced category. It was developed by the community years ago, kind of after it was fully broken open. It's Ori and the Blind Forest on the Definitive Edition, which you'll kind of see as we go through the run why we have the Definitive Edition, why everybody runs on the Definitive Edition. It's actually going to be in a category called All Skills, No Out of Bounds, I believe is kind of the full category name.
Yeah,
I think everyone just calls it All Skills.
With the no teleport anywhere on top of it. Yeah, everybody refers to it as All Skills, but basically there are a couple extra little restrictions on it just to make it a little more interesting. Basically disallowing the use of the glitch that makes any percent so short, and also disallowing some out of bounds.
Yeah, there is a skill. There are skills that you pick up in the game. There's kind of this skill circle. I definitely recommend, by the way, you guys just follow all the speed gaming channels. They're running a tournament for this right now. You guys just wrapped up your kind of pools portion of it.
Yeah, we just finished group stage. We're heading into bracket stage next week, and it's going to be really exciting because we've got some really cool bracket matchups, like some really good ones, and we're putting a ton of work into production value, way more than we're putting in for this. Like, I'll just go ahead and say that right now. Spike and I want to get to that level for this, but no, we've done a ton of work on the tournament, so definitely check that out too.
Yeah, definitely shout outs to Hobbs, who like the reason is one of the big reasons why there's so much good production value on the tournament right now. But again, guys, so their goal is going to be pretty simple. It's going to be get to the end of the game, but along the way, they have to get all of the different skills. So it's going to make for a nice little, 35 to 40 minute package. And we're actually doing, this is the first time we're doing Underground, we're doing a best 2 out of 3 because this race is quick enough. We want to give them a chance to get their feet wet, maybe make some mistakes. This is a game that lends itself to big time losses. So nice to see who can not only win a match, but also stay consistent over a couple of them. So do you want to introduce who our 2 runners are?
Yeah, so we've got Richard and Smashy racing against each other today. These 2 are pretty close in PB, so that's pretty exciting. I actually forgot their exact PB, so I'm going to look that up right now. But they're pretty close in PB, and they both have been running the game for pretty similar amounts of time. Richard also does a lot of stuff with GDQs. He takes a lot of the awesome GDQ photos. He always volunteers for photography every year. And Smashy has just been like a powerhouse when it comes to the Ori community. Like, just been always involved throughout all the times where like I'll drop it and go pick something else up. Smashy will keep playing and keep working with everybody and stuff, and likes to help come up with a lot of the ideas. I think she also does a lot of the tassing for the game. She's been getting really into that lately.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I've been excited to see some of the new developments that will come out of her work on the tasks. So that'll be awesome. Just looking up real quick, these 2 are within 20 seconds of each other, or 30 or 22 seconds. I think. Wait, no, I'm reading the PBs wrong. I'm sorry. They're within a minute of each other. That's
okay.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, I didn't know we scheduled that good a matchup. No. I want to remind you guys that, like, so Speedrunning Underground is an event, Hobson and I, a little brainchild of ours, where we wanted to try to highlight not just the world record holders of any given game or category. We wanted to look at, okay, who are just players who are very close to one another in PB, to where potentially either player could win on any given night, get to highlight a lot of the great races that go on Speedruns Live every night. So we found two players here that we know pretty well, or at least Hobson knows pretty well, I know a little bit, to bring you guys what we hope to be a really even competition. And part of it that's on the line is actually a bit of a prize pool. Richard already threw in 50 bits himself, so
trying to win them back.
We'll see if we can get that money back. But I want to remind you guys that any bits that are donated to the channel tonight during the course of this best 2 out of 3 competition will then go into a pool, and a portion of that will go to the winner of said race.
Yeah,
so,
I highly recommend contributing to that because both these people are awesome, and they're both tournament organizers for the Ori tournament and stuff, and they help out with a lot of that kind of stuff. So definitely keep that in mind, folks, and you can always throw down and cheer for your favorite winner. You know, like it's kind of what cheering was supposed to be used for, right? From Twitch, they want you to cheer people on, so let's cheer people on. Let's cheer on. Just pick a side, even if you don't know. Richard probably has the slight edge in terms of PB, so there you go. If you want Smashy to be the underdog and come out, then come out victorious, then you can cheer her on. Otherwise, if you want to see Richard do it and bring it home, go ahead and cheer on Richard. All right. Without further ado,
to give you guys a little more incentive, just to throw out, boom, tap everything for the bits. These bits will also go towards my MoMAM goals. I'm just adding up whatever bits I get for the month. So if you guys want to feel like you're kind of double dipping kind of throughout the rest of this month, any bits you go in will also get me towards those incentives that I know you guys want to see. So thank you guys for the bits, but Hobbs, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, all right. Without further ado, I'm going to get these two kicked off. And yeah, in just a moment, let's go ahead and go over to our main scene here. There we go. And in just a moment, we'll see them get started. And then I'll get the audio all switched over and stuff. So no more of our ugly faces. You get to see this beautiful game instead.
Oh, thank God. Taking off all the clothes. All right.
All right. Oh God, I already messed with everything. Hold on.
Yeah. So starting off here, guys, what I love about Ori and the Blind Forest as a speed run is that it starts off pretty timid. It's just, okay, we're this little cute character. We're running through this very, just this forest. Everything. Okay, we're just kind of running and jumping. Now, I believe, Hobbs, now the jumping is actually to mess with, I think, less friction on the ground.
Yeah, the jumping's just slightly faster. Basically, you want to run up to your top speed. And then you want to keep staying. Oh wow, I have that audio just a little too high. And then you want to stay in the air about it like as much as you possibly can. So that's why you'll see them jump a lot. But if they are going from a standstill, then they'll actually start off by running first.
This is like a Rocky montage you guys are going to be watching. They're going to start off as just these like timid little characters, and then they're going to be Super Saiyans by the end of this, don't worry. So I hear they're picking up I guess you guys technically count this as a skill? I don't know if it counts as a skill.
Yeah, picking up sign.
Allowing you to have these little energy blasts that you can kill these enemies. 5 shots apiece will take out these Frankies, as they call them. Those are experience that they're dropping. And they are going to want to level up throughout the run to pick up different abilities in the ability tree.
Yeah, because leveling up doesn't work, like an RPG or something where you just get stat upgrades. It actually works by giving you ability points that you can use to unlock abilities that upgrade your skills. So they'll be collecting 11 skills throughout this run. It is the all skills category. And then they'll be upgrading those skills along the way with some abilities.
Yeah, so right here in this little section, they're picking up these little white pieces. These are keystones that you then take and put in a door. You'll see these a couple times throughout the run.
Wow, Richard got very unlucky and got 2 different energy drops. He managed to dodge one, but the second one got him, and so he still lost the time even though he dodged one of them. Smashy had the same thing happen, but sorry, continue on. They basically, those, I guess I'll wrap that up. The keystones open doors, and they each took an intentional death to skip the door opening animation. Richard missing a jump there, so Smashy taking a small lead at the moment.
Yeah, going up there and picking up their first life cell. There are life cells, energy cells, and ability cells that they can pick up throughout the run. Starting off, the game gives you 3 maximum health. Each of those life cells will increase that by 1. For a while there, the category was they would only stay at the minimum amount of health. But as it turns out, through the usage of a lot of damage boosts and one huge sequence break, we're gonna have to. It's gonna kind of mess with the layout of the game as we go further into it. It's actually faster to pick up at least 2 health. You're probably gonna see both these players. What do you think, Hobz? Pick up 3, get to 6 max health.
Yeah, I think they'll each go for 6 health. They do ordinarily, and the reason that they need the extra health is not. You need a minimum of 5, but it's not particularly free to do the kind of skip with 5. So. They'll probably each be going for 6. But now they're coming up to another skill tree. This one gives them wall jump, and which obviously just allows you to jump up walls. The other nice thing about skill trees, though, is that they actually completely refill your health and energy. And on top of that, whenever you pick up an extra energy or health cell, like Smashy just did for the energy variety, you also get a full refill. So that energy cell that she just picked up is actually very crucial for an upcoming sequence break.
Yeah, and one thing to note about this, you might say, how do I know what their health is? How do the players know what their health is? The old way of counting and just keeping a mental track of it, because you can actually turn the UI off in this game, which, makes it to where you don't have to see, I believe it's any of the text scrolling that the game pops out to you at any point.
Yeah, none of the text boxes show up with the UI off, so they may turn it on, and they may, toggle it on and off occasionally to check any kind of health or experience or whatever, like Smashy just did, actually, on the right. But for the most part, they'll keep it off most of the game. And now they're coming up to a pretty big trick called Save Anywhere. Basically, Smashy's going to be the first one to come up to it, so if you take a look at the right side of your screen, she's going to head towards Blackroot Burrows, a Definitive Edition exclusive area. So if you only played the vanilla version of this game, you might not be familiar with this area. While entering Blackroot Burrows, she's going to hop onto this save point and start a trick called Save Anywhere, so she can move in the back of this menu. So you can see it's very hard for her to see, but she can control Ori. She then levels up an ability to modify one of her skills, in this case actually Magnet, which will just make experience come towards her from further away. And then leveling up that ability actually saves the game, and once you reload, you get to skip a cutscene that the game wants to give you there. That's normally like a 22-second or so cutscene, so really nice to be able to skip that kind of thing.
As you can see, as we go into this dungeon right here, again, as Hobz said, an exclusive to the Definitive Edition. We got a very dark area here, so obviously a little bit scary to move around in, precarious, lots of spikes everywhere, lots of areas where they can fall down. But it's also a dungeon that primarily it cycles. We are at this point in the game where we don't have a lot of movement options. Again, we're going to get a lot faster as we go. And we also have to, in a bit of an escort mission type deal, take this orb over.
I hate to interrupt you, but Smashy took a lot of damage there. She did make it out okay, though. She has to wait an extra laser cycle, but not too big of a deal. These lasers are one-shot kills, so if they're not careful, then they will obviously take a quick death. Richard did a save and reload there to mess with those cycles, because like you were saying, Spike, those are hugely important in this area.
Yeah, trying to just carry this energy orb with them, which is constantly what it is doing, is actually allowing us to stand on these platforms and actually make them appear. You can't stand on them in the dark. So, yeah, carrying them up to these different areas, lighting the different switches, setting off the different doors and whatnot. They're nearing the end of it. I believe they're going into the final room right here, and then we're going to be getting...
Smashy barely made a nice cycle there, so that was very close. She was actually swinging around her mouse to show that she was worried about that cycle. So very nice that she made it, and she had an even tighter cycle than Richard did there, so saving some of that time that she lost by falling into the spikes earlier.
All right, come up here, flipping this switch, and now we are coming down on... There are 2 extra skills that the game added for Definitive Edition, and like Grenade's all right, this is the big one.
Yeah.
This is, they wanted you to go fast. This almost feels inspired that the devs saw speedruns. They're like, let's let them go even faster. This is the dash ability. Hobz, I know you've done a lot of speedruns, and you speedrun this game obviously a lot more than I have. I don't know, how would you describe the dash ability in this game, the dash skill?
I mean, dash is great. It's actually pretty similar to Celeste's dash, if you're familiar with that. in the regard that as long as you're on the ground, the cooldown is basically immediately refunded. So as you can see, Smashy is dashing over the ground multiple times in rapid succession. The other nice thing is that you can carry some of the speed from your dash into your jumps, as long as you, you do enough kind of precision with your movement controls. Now, Smashy's coming up to the largest sequence break in the early game, and that is something called Frankie Walk. Basically, she needs to lure this Frankie over to a door that requires 4 energy to open. Now, even though it requires 4 energy to open, as you can see on Richard's screen, there's only 2 maximum energy that each of these players have, those little blue circles there. So, how are they going to open a 4 energy door? Well, remember I said that leveling up actually gives you a full refill of your health and energy, and so Smashy's going to put 2 energy in the door, kill the Frankie, grab its experience, level up, and put the next 2 energy in the door, and there we go, it opens up, and now she can go into Moon Grotto backwards. However, this is an area we call the Death Gauntlet, and it is not very friendly.
Very, very scary area here. If either of them die, they're going to be going back very far. I believe all the way back to into the Blackroot Burrows even.
Yeah. And now Smashy has picked up her 3rd energy cell, and good thing that she placed the safety save because he immediately took some damage. Richard, I believe, went for a trick called Death Glide and failed it, leaving him currently at 1 health, but he is safely gonna, probably safely gonna make it up to his health, or his energy cell. Back on the right side, this game moves fast. Smashy going for an early grotto cycle here, not quite able to make it. She wanted to jump into those crushers a little bit early. So if Richard on the left can get this, he's gonna make up 8 seconds and really come close to, getting back to being tied with Smashy. So let's take a look.
It's a tight race. See if he can carry those. Oh!
Narrowly got it. Very, very close, but unable to make that cycle, so he has to wait just like Smashy did. Now on the right side, Smashy is going to be doing another ghost door trick to skip the animation of the door opening. Just saving after putting the keys in the door and then killing yourself or reloading will actually skip that door animation. She took another quick little death. Not too big of a deal because of that ghost door save.
Alright, so again, for anyone basically playing this game, you can lay down your saves anywhere in this game. Well, not quite anywhere. There needs to be an amount of danger around. But that is what allows them to put down their saves. It uses up some energy. Right here on the right side, you're seeing Smashy running around off-screen blind, while the game is still giving her that skill, that double jump skill right there.
And she had a minor hiccup with it, wasn't quite able to start climbing. Oh, and now she's hit the spikes. Has to be very careful now. Okay, Richard looks like he was not able to start climbing in the blind movement either, so no time to be saved there for him. But hopefully he can avoid hitting the spikes and dropping to very low health, and he does just that.
Yeah, you're seeing that every time they have that little burst of light behind them, that's them laying down a save. So in a lot of instances, those are safety saves.
Ooh, Smashy was trying.
On a little trick. All right, Smashy getting its 2nd try right there.
That skips about half of the Moon Grotto, the area that we're in at the moment. Ooh, Richard falling all the way down is going to have to try it again. Definitely, I wonder if, slight little nerves or something are getting to him. Not that this is a super serious race, but the bits are on the line, folks. And Richard did actually get it once he finally got set up there. He got it right away, so nice job from him. Smashy's now coming up to something that's called the water vein, though, Spike.
Yes, right here. And they're actually going to be doing a couple of different little save anywheres in order to skip over little cutscenes. So, looks very goofy right there. You see that character right there, that NPC, sort of just being stuck in place, saving them just a few seconds each time for both of those.
Yeah, and Smashy just picked up the water vein. Richard about to do that as well. The water vein is the key to the first dungeon, Ginso Tree. And like I said earlier, we kind of went through this area backwards. So you'll notice that we're going to keep seeing a few cutscenes where Gumo, our friend here, if you look on the left side right now, Gumo, our friend, still holds the water vein, even though each of these runners has it in their inventory already. It's just a fun little thing that we play these cutscenes out of order.
You can see him right there on the right side on Smashy's screen right there. Again, it's out of order. We're basically doing it backwards right now. You're seeing this in a completely different direction. So now we're going to be taking this. Effectively, the Moon Grotto was almost like the first of the 6 main dungeons of this game. You saw a little bit of it. That's more than you're going to see of some dungeons in this run with how sequence breaky it gets. But now we're making our way up to the Ginso Tree, the 2nd main dungeon of the game. The first thing they want to do here, if you're looking on Smashy's screen on the right and Richard just behind her, they are trying to, first of all, get through this precarious little spike section to just trigger this little save point, because they're actually going to use that at the end of the run. Very scary there. How much damage do each of those spikes do?
They actually deal 2 damage. You have, at this moment, 4 health, and you need to take that damage boost off the slime. So taking a hit from any of them makes things very scary. Smashy got through, narrowly dodging some of the spikes. Richard getting through as well. And now Smashy's entering the first dungeon. This is the Ginso tree, and the point of the Ginso tree is to basically test the skills that you've gotten so far throughout the game, which at this point is really just wall jump and double jump. And our friend Sign to be able to shoot things. Now, the game would also expect you to have Charge Flame here, but luckily it doesn't require it in order to pass through this area, because they actually skipped that skill, and they'll be picking it up later because it's just a little bit faster to do the routing that way.
Now, there is an option for an...
Oh, Smashy takes 3 damage. She's now sitting on 1 health. Has to be very careful here. She's actually going to wait on a few cycles. This is Richard's chance to catch up right here. But, oh man, he almost falls into the spikes himself. These
he
rooms...
lays down a save right there, so he won't fall back too far to take a death. But right now, this is a big opportunity for him.
Looked like he had a bit of a smoother, way through the second half of that room. Smashy now going through a redirection puzzle, kind of, to basically teach you that these portals will refresh your double jump. If you take a look on the left side, Richard should do it as well. Room always looks sexy when you do it right. And now Smashy into kind of your first break in Ginso, which is this...
I was about to say, a little
puzzle.
bit of a breather right now.
Yeah, they want you to use this little redirector to move the shots of these stationary spitters to break open these walls. They actually expect you to use both redirectors, but it turns out you can just use one. Smashy now heading into the mini-boss of the area, the first of 2. This mini-boss takes generally 5 cycles to complete, sometimes more, occasionally less if you're very, very good. But it appears in 5 different random locations. Those random locations give you a small 1-frame tell to be able to tell where they're going to spawn next. Smashy did a great job there. Richard having a bit more trouble maybe figuring out exactly where the boss is going to show up each time, but he is doing a good job with his attacks.
It looks like that was likely a 5.1 cycle or so.
Right, and he took some intentional damage because these saves are giving them extra health at the moment, and because on the right side you can see Smashy's in another room with one of those keystone doors, which, as we've done so far throughout this run, she's going to want to kill herself after placing a save, after opening the door, and that will make it open instantly. So
God, this skill right here is the best skill in all of video gaming ever. This is called Bash. Effectively anything like those lights that you see right here, enemies you can use it off of, all of them you can go ahead and just effectively almost like latch onto them and then bash off of them and gain a ton of speed. And what runners do, I believe, is you guys drop into neutral, and that actually allows you to keep more of the speed off that initial fling off of the bash.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. The other important thing about
it perfectly, I'm sure.
The other thing about bash is not only do you launch yourself in one direction, you actually launch the projectile or enemy in the opposite direction, and that can come into play. Oh wow, Smashy having trouble damage boosting up the wall. Richard has had a cleaner section after bash so far and is caught up a lot of the time, but I have to immediately talk about the trick that's going on right now, which is Smashy's going to take a death while putting 3 keys into this door. Because her save is far enough away, she actually deloaded the area that has the door, and the game gave her the keys back even though she died. So she duplicated her keys, now has 3, as you can see in the top right there, even though she hasn't, they're there to pick up again. Richard and Smashy are now tied. Picking up the rest of these keys. Richard
takes the lead.
Barely taking it
for one of them.
Gets a nice little hyper speed as
after
well.
they place the keys in the door, so, because again, as we said at GDQ, or someone at least said, they would rather die than watch a door open. Alright, taking out this last mini-boss right here, there actually is a little bit more going on in the dungeon, but as of just about 6 months ago, I would say, there was a complete reroute here, where now they're not going to finish the Ginso tree. Hobbs, what sort of effect does that have on the rest of the game?
So the Ginso tree is normally supposed to be tied to the water of the game, so the water everywhere in the game, even if it looks clean, is actually poisonous. They will take 1 damage per second inside the water. However, when you beat the Ginso tree, you clean the water of the world, and it makes it safe to swim in. However, they both left the Ginso tree. They didn't complete it completely. So the water will remain poisonous for the entire run. We've actually found through the use of a randomizer.
By the way, some sick blind movement here you guys can enjoy. Go ahead,
yeah,
Hobs.
we've actually found a trick called early swamp entry. They're going to take this frog. Ooh, Richard not opting for a safety save before this. This is a hard trick, so it's a risky decision. Smashy made the safety save. Richard is going to be placing this frog in through a series of precise bashes. He's going to manipulate his shot to be able to open a ceiling that we're not supposed to be able to open this early. He goes ahead and does it, and he nails it first try. So great job from Richard there to get into Thornfeld Swamp without the use of Ginso.
What happened there for Smashy? It looked like he went through it.
Not quite.
Smashy.
Yeah, Smashy wasn't quite able to get it because sometimes those shots do go through the barriers. It's so rough. It's so stupid. That was a dumb way to lose time, and really not any thing that Smashy could have done anything about. It sucks for her, but unfortunately that's the nature of the game sometimes.
Smashy playing solid, but Richard really, I mean, he dug himself a little bit of, 10-15 second hole right there and has converted it to about a 10-second lead for him at this point. So Richard really playing well here in game one of our best 2 out of 3 for you guys. Again, reminder, guys, any bits donated throughout this wooden barrel, thank you for the 1,000 biddies. Anybody who wants to contribute to the prize pool of this, a portion of all bits donated throughout this stream will go to the winner of this race. So get those biddies in, guys.
Alrighty,
so now we have the Stomp. I believe that was the Stomp ability.
Yes, they've each picked up Stomp. As you can see, it allows them to move down very quickly. It also does damage to enemies and it can open some barriers. But Richard now on the left side is going to take that same frog that was a jerk to Smashy earlier and use him in order to get this ability cell. Again, we mentioned ability points are used to level up abilities that upgrade your skills, and they're also used to skip cutscenes. So we need quite a few of them throughout the run, and that's why they have to pick up some additional ones like this. Smashy had a harder time with it.
On a tough trick right here. Let's see if he's able to get it. Gonna have to reset up for it. Was able to get it second try. That might look like nothing. Richard was able to actually skip a cutscene right there, where Kuro, kind of the antagonist of this game, comes down, looks at you. It's like a 30-second or so cutscene, I want to say.
Yeah, it's like 17 or something. I don't know, but it sucks. Either way, Richard also picked up some safety health. So he picked up his 5th health, which would normally be all he needs to complete the game, but I expect him to pick some more up later. Smashy on the right, going for that Kuro cutscene skip, and nails it first try. So that will help her a little bit, since she had some of those issues with the frog earlier on. Richard's now going to go skip, or he's going to go pick up the 3rd skill in the game normally, the skill that the game expects you to get 3rd, but the skill that they're getting 7th, and this is called Charge Flame. Now, Charge Flame, it's not the most useful of things. It basically just allows you a big burst attack that you can use on enemies and walls. It's not very useful for us. However, it is useful because, well, A, this is the all skills category, so, they have to get all the skills. But on top of that, it also allows them to unlock a very useful ability later on, and we'll get to that very shortly. Alright, Smashy having a bit more trouble with the Frankie. Frogs and Frankies are just not her friends today, but was able to get down to Charge Flame successfully. Richard is now entering the Valley of the Wind. Has to pick up some more ability cells along the way, and then he has to come over and stomp this peg in order to just allow him access to Valley. This is basically to have the game check that to make sure that you have Stomp before going this way.
Yeah, kind of going here on this left side of the map, we've got where the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of the 6 main dungeons are located. One of them we're not going to see at all. The other 2 we're going to see bits and pieces of for sure. But this is where the game, as far as I'm concerned, kicks into maximum overdrive. You're starting to see all these different skills, these abilities that they're leveling up as they go, starting to all come together with Bash and Bash, Dash, all the sorts.
And I'm going to have to cut you off to talk about this trick that's going to exactly show just how you can use all of that together. This is fast stompless. That's what we call it here. He's Richard on the left is going to be the first to attempt. He's going to bait out a shot from the spider, then redirect it in a very precise location. Very specific angle he has to do there. He then races away from it as fast as he can while taking damage in order to get this ability cell. Oh, and he actually missed the trick. If everything had gone well, he would have warped into a cutscene. So he's going to have to take a second attempt, or in fact, skip it all together and go stomp the rocks himself. Hopefully Smashy can get this, because this is a huge opportunity that Richard just gave her to catch up. Shot looks pretty good so far. On the right side, keep an eye out. You're going to see her warp into a cutscene if all goes well. Spider Shot's a little late, but it looks fine to me. She'll be able to grab this ability cell, and there it is! Warps into the same cutscene.
We are tied back up, ladies and gentlemen. Smashy only we're talking 2 seconds behind at this point. Very far into this race. That's exciting, ladies and gentlemen.
And Richard just wanted to he wanted to be a bro and show exactly how slow it is to do it the other way. And that's why this trick exists. But yeah, now they're each picking up Feather, and the craziness does not stop here. They now have access to Charge Dash, an ability that's going to allow them to homing attack enemies or used for speed, as you're seeing from Richard right now. You can also use it to get a lot of height by canceling the homing attack at an enemy above you via the use of Jump or Feather. Now Richard coming into the biggest sequence break of the game. Spike, I know you've tried to do this before too. What do you think of this?
It's so impossible. Normally the game wants you here to actually go beat effectively the 3rd and 4th dungeons of the game in order to make this wind shoot up. Instead, as you saw from Richard right there, he took a bird into the spike section, bashed off of it using a technique called double bashing, and was able to skip through that entire spike section. Now we got Smashy trying it as well.
Smashy's having a bit more trouble, and this is a very difficult trick. It's the first wall for every new runner. These runners are a lot more experienced, but just a couple of wrong inputs can easily cost you it. And Smashy's not going to have enough health from this bird. I'm surprised she's still attempting this. I'm worried that this bird's about to die on her, and there it is. Yeah, so gonna need to take an extra death there. Richard on the left, though, is very quickly moving through the game now. He's picked up his next skill, Charge Jump, which we have Stomp to move down quickly. Now we've got Charge Jump to move up quickly. Again, folks, if you're not catching any of this, don't worry. This is a best 2 out of 3. You're gonna get a couple of chances to view all these tricks. But I need to keep talking because I know a little more about this trick. Richard is doing a trick called Terra Break. Basically, he's going to use that save anywhere to save wherever he wants. He charge jumps into the spikes, and then in order to kill himself, and for some reason that allows him to keep that charge jump effect as he respawns, and that broke open the barrier, which allowed him to ride this Chamber of Wind up to the Sunstone.
Oh, that's why that works. Okay. That was when I watched and researched. I was like, I don't know why that wall's gone. Whatever. Okay, so Smashy now coming up on the charge jump herself. Checking this one off the list. Again, we're grabbing these all sorts of out of order. And now on your left side, Richard able to skip this Sunstone cutscene, saving a bunch of time there.
And the Sunstone is the key to the 3rd dungeon, so he now has everything he needs in order to go to the final dungeon. However, he doesn't have all the skills that the category requires yet, so he has to go and pick up the remaining 2 that he's currently missing.
Yeah, and you might sit there and say, like, okay, and, these 2 other skills that we're grabbing left, they're not, like, super useful or super sexy, although they both have some uses. I think they're both actually useful for, like, the final trick of the run. But also, did we just go for Wilhelm?
Yes, Richard just threw the Wilhelm frog off the map. Just
little
Richard. Easter egg, man. Let's go ahead and just see that again real quick. Just throws the frog off and makes a nice little Wilhelm scream. But yeah, Richard now entering Misty Woods, and this is normally where the game wants you to pick up the climb skill as well as the key to the 2nd dungeon. However, he is not going to care about the key to the 2nd dungeon. We skipped half the first one. Remember, we left Ginso Tree early, and we're actually going to skip the entirety of the 2nd one, Forlorn Ruins. Ooh, wow, Richard taking damage. Very quickly places a safety save after that. Smart decision making by him there.
Yeah, and you have to make those decisions so fast. You can see the rate at which they're going and their movements, everything they have to do. Again, this run, remember when I said the first 5 seconds of this run, we're just kind of running around, we're jumping a little bit. Yeah, it's amazing once you put all the different skills together. And that's why it's awesome, I think, that we go into the Misty Woods.
Oh, Richard took a death.
Taking a death there.
Yeah, not the most costly, but certainly not one he wants to take. I mean, Smashy's already into Misty Woods and rapidly using rocket jumps, charge dashes, and stomp cancels on top of that. A little advanced technique in order to catch up as quick as she can. Now Richard's coming up to our next ability here, or skill rather.
Yeah, the only one we got here in the woods, the climb ability, will allow you already could do a bunch of wall kicks, but now you can simply just cling to a wall, which is going to be particularly useful, I guess, for really just one semi-important trick right at the end of the run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now with that, their goal is just to get the heck out of here. Again, Misty Wood's a different kind of dungeon. There's lots of different. The geometry of the area just changes as you move throughout it constantly. So a lot of times they're hitting certain camera points just to change triggers, just to hit these different triggers to actually allow you to then go into different rooms.
Yeah, and
all right, Smashy able to pick up on wall climb as well. Again, has really made up a lot of time here recently.
Yeah, she's actually been doing quite well since the problems with Sarabash. Richard has not been making quite as many safety saves, or rather, well, he has, but he's been dying at kind of the very last second in a couple of instances. But now, the thing about Misty Woods that's so cool about it is that it's not about the tricks, it's about the movement, and as one of my tournament co-commentators, likes to describe it, Richard went for a little sexy strat that he knows I love called meatball strats, but unfortunately wasn't able to quite nail it down. He is coming up to a mini-boss though, and if all goes well, you won't see either of the two parts of this mini-boss spawn. Well, it didn't all go well. He's going to try again at a quick kill.
Another opportunity here.
Very nice backup, though. He got it pretty quick. Smashy will be coming up pretty soon. Once again, using those rocket jumps to get quite a bit of height. She's going to go for one in this scary shaft here, and wow! Not quite able to do it and barely saves herself from death, but she'll be trying again in just a moment. Or, no, she won't. What am I talking about? I'm sorry. I meant she will be trying for that Misty mini-boss kill in a moment that Richard missed. So, take a look on the right side of your screen as Richard's rapidly moving towards his last skill, but... Wow, Smashy nailed it. Great job. That was very weird, actually. It didn't quite look like the normal kill, but it worked out for her, and so she saved quite a bit of time on Richard there. She now just has to leave Misty. Richard is teleporting back to Blackroot Burrows.
Yeah, that is the same point we talked about, a lot earlier in the run, right before the Jinzo tree. Now they can move out of here and just they have to go to one... Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so they're going to Blackroot Burrows, where they have to get their final skill of the game, then they'll warp there. Okay, yeah, I've got this all out of order. Again, if you play this game casually, this is not the order you do everything.
It's certainly not. Richard's making it, making his path down to the lower part of Blackroot Burrows, Lost Grove, and will be using... all of his skills in order to grab the last skill available to him, Light Grenade. Now, Light Grenade for quite a while we used to think was completely useless. Probably for, I think, over a year of this game, we thought Light Grenade was not useful for the speedrun. However, with a development in last year's tournament, we actually found a new trick called a grenade jump. This is a one-frame trick that allows you to use climb and charge jump and Light Grenade all in quick succession in order to get a lot of speed. We'll see if Richard goes for any here. He's not yet. There's only one basically required one in the run, and that'll be at the very last trick of the run. Richard, narrowly dodging that instant kill laser.
Looks like Smashy had to make up a little bit of a backup strat right there to go off of that rolling hedgehog type enemy to get up enough height to get to the bird using a double dash.
Beautiful movement from Richard so far coming out of Light Grenade. We mentioned he was looking a little shaky in Misty Woods, but looked a lot better in Blackroot Burrows there. Now, Smashy's got a bit of a deficit at this point, but there are some very difficult tricks coming in for the final bits of the run. So if Richard takes too long on him, Smashy could potentially carry this back out and get that upset.
Hobbs, you know this run a lot more than me. It seems like if you can just kind of keep it somewhat close going into the final area with really the two major tricks they've got coming up, it's really anybody's game.
Absolutely. And wow, Smashy took damage but had a nice recovery, and we'll get that instant health refill from that cell there. Now, Richard's heading up to the final dungeon of the game, Mount Horu. This is an area with 8 different rooms in it. You normally have to get rid of all this cascading lava. However, remember how I said that we skipped the second dungeon and we skipped half the first dungeon? Well, we're going to skip the entirety of the third dungeon as well. There's actually a one-frame trick called... door warp that Richard's going to go for here. He waits for the game to autosave, reloads the game, and on the first frame the game loads, he skips the entire dungeon.
First try, ladies and gentlemen.
Great job from Richard there. go ahead and nail that immediately. And now he's into the final escape of the game. This is all that basically stands between him and victory, as Smashy is almost up to Mount Horror herself. So she's going to have her opportunity at Door Warp. Take a look real quick on the right side. Smashy doing one of those grenade jumps that I talked about. Going for it once, not quite able to get it. Gonna go for it again, and there it is. That is a preview of what is to come from Richard's side as well. Now, Richard powering through the final escape, but he has to be careful, even with 6 health, to not take a single bit of damage throughout this entire escape. And that's because, as we mentioned earlier, the water in the world is still poisonous. And Spike, can you tell me what's on screen right now? Just
what's
water, right?
Just water. Oh, yeah.
So he had to make it through that swim with only the health that he had picked up throughout the run. Now he's going for another 1-frame trick, that grenade jump we just saw from Smashy. If he does this in the correct position, he can skip half the ending cutscene. Let's see if he can do it. Misses it on the first attempt. He'll have to try again. If he does this incorrectly, he will soft lock and have to return to the beginning of the escape, but he nails it. First try. Great job from Richard in order to take that victory. Just a little bit of holding right is all that's going to separate him from the win.
All right, Smashy able to get the door warp sticker. Sorry, I was keeping track of what Smashy was doing over there on the right side. Smashy able to get the door warp on the second try as well. Very nice job of her. Again, that is a 1-frame trick in a 60 frame per second game. Now she's coming up, going through the escape as well. As Hobz said, cannot take any damage throughout this because the water is poisonous. The whole reason why we picked up those extra health cells all throughout the game. Bashing off a couple of shots right here. Obviously, also, this is a chase sequence trying to keep away from Kuro, the bird. As you said earlier, I believe we do despawn Kuro, allowing us to be able to do this last jump, this last trick here at the end of the run. Moving her way up the wall, trying to get in position. We'll see if she's able to get it in the first couple of tries. And more importantly, avoid the soft lock.
And here we go. Here's her attempt at it. Ooh, misses it on the first attempt, but doesn't accidentally fall into the cutscene. It's very easy to do, and does not soft lock either, so she's nice and through to the end of the game herself. What a close race for our first out of the potentially three that we'll be seeing here tonight, Spike.
Yeah, very, very nice. I mean, both players playing pretty well close to kind of what the spread was supposed to be. Looks like Richard's going to end up taking a little over of a minute win right here. The official dot time or dot done of this, the finishing up category, is when you're moving this other character across the screen. Kind of once you lose control of that character, that's when the timing is. So, yeah, it looks like it's going to be just over a minute, about the separation of their PBs. So, really nice performance by them.
And I missed hitting the finish button, so that is on me. Sorry about that, Smashy. I'll go ahead and update that for you guys, though. 34:39 being her final time. Like you said, just barely a little more than a minute apart.
Yeah, so do you happen to know off the top of your head, I don't know, you looked at the speedrun.com leaderboards for this, where does Richard's PB sit? I'm wondering how close they played to their PBs in this
Richard
race.
has a very low 32-minute time, and Smashy has a 33:05, assuming both their PBs on speedrun.com are correct.
They're totally up to date. Yeah, I have a habit of not updating those myself, so...
So both playing within a little over a minute within their PBs, which in a game like this, as volatile as this game can be because of its difficulty, that is a great job from both of them.
EG, both runners. But again, guys, that is only our first of potential 3 matches we got for you guys tonight. They're going to face off in round 2, coming up very shortly here. Gonna let them, take a little break if they need to, kind of collect their thoughts. I always love best 2 out of 3 events like this, because then you can see, all right, moments like Richard had some trouble with the, I believe it's called Fast Stompless.
Mm-hmm.
With the Kuro, the cutscene there. You see, like, okay, is that going to get in his head at all? Is he going to be able to make an adjustment for that going here into round 2? Or is that going to kind of get in his head or not? We just need to see how players are able to make adjustments going into round 2.
Certainly is. This is going to be pretty crazy because, as you saw, like, it was basically just that Sorrow Bash trick that gave Smashy a lot of difficulty that kind of spelled the minute difference in this race. I would say that she probably lost around a minute or so from that one trick alone. So
yeah, don't forget, guys, this was a practically tied race after the Fast Stompless trick. It was all of a sudden, Richard missed it, Smashy hit it, and she was maybe 2 seconds, I would guess, literally behind. And the next thing you know, Richard kind of blazed through the next section, getting all the way up through Sorrow Bash. So, yeah, that's that's the one. If you want to call like the MVP trick of this run, kind of what spelled the difference in it. So, be definitely interesting to see. So, I want to remind you guys, this is Speedrunning Underground. Weekly event, weekly races put on by myself and JHobz. We're going to be doing 2 out of 3 tonight. And if you guys want to throw down some bits, the winner of this race, the winner of this best 2 out of 3 tonight, will actually get a portion of those bits. So throw down the bits if you got any, guys. If you want to go ad farm here in between our matches, feel free to.
Yeah, because we're going to give them a little bit of a break. This game is super technically challenging, so
there's no downtime in this game. That's what's fascinating.
Yeah, there's very little, so you generally want like just a few minutes of rest in between the runs and stuff, especially when the runs were that close. So we're gonna give them till about I'd say around like the 8:05 mark or so, and we get to just talk about that race. So early on, we saw the immediate lead from Smashy, right, Spike, and with Richard being almost a minute ahead of her PB, I was actually wondering if maybe we'd see a case where like Richard just had that small edge in the early game and carried it throughout the whole run, but not at all what we got out of that one.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, we saw Smashy was in the lead there for just a little bit. Do you remember where kind of the lead flipped back over to Richard? Because then he built up a relatively significantly. They were tied, I remember, going into the keystone section, the key duping section, in the Jinzo tree.
Yeah, Richard.
And that's where Richard started to pull away.
He really had solid, clean movement throughout a lot of Moon Grotto and on the way to Ginso tree, especially. Smashy did as well, but just not quite the same level. So Richard managed to catch up as they got it. It was really especially after they picked up Bash that Richard caught up. He just made some earlier cycles. Smashy had a couple more issues with the projectiles, and then suddenly at Key Dupe, tied game. What an amazing race. And then like you said, Richard pulled away for a while, but all it takes is one failed trick in Ori to be able to allow your opponent to catch up, and that's exactly what Fast Stompless did.
Yeah, I know I've heard from some members of the community how they love both how this game sort of melts together, because I feel like a lot of games that are based purely around your movement also don't end up being the most punishing games. It's like, okay, it's little quarter seconds here and tenths of seconds there. Boom, thank you for the biddies. Just like little bits of time all over the place. But this game has all of that with also being an incredibly punishing game. There's half a dozen to a dozen tricks in this game where, if you miss them, all of a sudden you're losing a ton of time. Down to the final trick in that run. If I just didn't go for that trick, how much time am I losing? 45 seconds or something?
About 30 to 35. Around 35. So in a game where this was decided by almost exactly a minute, like only a few seconds off of a minute, you really can't go for a trick that's going to save you. Can't not go for a trick that's going to save you 35 seconds. And despite that, we didn't see it from either of these runners, which is great. But that trick, if you're just a few pixels off on your spot on the wall that you line up for that trick, you can completely soft lock the game. And in order to prevent the soft lock, you can instead reload, and that'll put you right back at the final escape again, which is a full minute plus of time loss. So definitely a big potential swing candidate, but luckily didn't decide the race this time. It was more just the overall trick sequences and movements throughout the game. Yeah,
definitely like a game that has that sort of dynamic that, like, there are the big tricks, but it's also, at the end of the day, you can learn the big tricks, but this game is going to favor just your PB reflects just how good your movement is all the way throughout. And as you guys could see, this game is insane with the amount of movement options that you have all over the place. We didn't get into it much, but that skill tree you saw us leveling up all throughout the game when we were doing the save anywhere glitches, the save anywhere tricks to skip the cutscenes. Kind of the big skill we were working towards was that charge dash, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
And that charge dash allowing you to... what does it actually allow you to do, Hobbs? I know you got into it more than I did, considering you actually run the game.
Well,
actually, bash into enemies effectively with it? Go ahead.
Yeah, charge dash allows you to homing attack at an enemy, to deal damage and also just, move yourself at the expense of 1 energy. So at the cost of 1 energy, you can rapidly attack an enemy with a homing attack. However, if you actually bash or stomp before the charge dash completely finishes, then you refund that energy. And as you can see, charge dash is very, very fast, so we want to use it all over the place. And so the runners, we'll see it again this time. We'll try to highlight that a bit more on this second match. The runners were charge dashing enemies and then bashing or charge dashing and stomping in order to refund the energy so they could keep using more charge dashes for more speed. And they both did a great job with that part.
Yeah, lots of sexy movement. I hope this inspires you, if nothing else. Any of my viewers who haven't been watching it, check out more of the speed gaming tournament that's going to be going on. Both these players are in it. You guys have like 70 of you in the tournament or something. It's ridiculous.
It's pretty crazy.
So it's cool to see for just a little indie game how many people have picked it up. So with that, it looks like both players are on the starting screen. We're going to get set up for you guys with round 2 here very shortly. Again, Richard, the left side of your screen, he was able to take the win by just about 1 minute and 5 seconds. About the separation of their PBs. So we'll see how close this second race gets to be. Smashy definitely had her opportunity, so would not be shocked to see this go to game 3.
Yeah, I really hope it does, because I cannot get enough of this game, to be honest. So I would love to see that happen. All right, we're just about ready to go, so I'm just going to convene with the runners. Spike, if you just want to, I guess, give people who might have come in at the, in the middle of the last one or whatever, just give them a quick overview of the game again real quick, I guess.
Yeah, guys, this is Ori and the Blind Forest, released in, I believe it was 2015, early on. An amazing indie title by Moon Studios. This is actually Ori and the Blind Forest, the definitive edition, where they went back in and you would think, okay, there's gonna be a little. I've seen some definitive editions in my time. They have some extra little dungeons in here that allow us to pick up more skills. This is the Ori and the Blind Forest definitive edition speedrun with the category of all skills. So they have to go through. There's like 9 or so skills throughout the run that they're going to have to go pick up all of them and then beat the game. This will allow them so many different movement opportunities or movement options throughout the run as you see them connect together. Again, watch this run as it goes. It's going to start off. Some of you might have come in halfway through. It doesn't start that crazy. You're just a little guy running around, jumping, and all of a sudden you go. And with that, we're starting off, guys. Skipping the opening intro.
No. Sorry. Sorry, no. They have not started yet. You would see it on your restreams.
Okay. I saw a timer going on.
No, it's all good.
But yeah, guys, so this is the best 2 out of 3. The first person to take the match was Richard. So if he takes this one, he's out of here. Yeah, keep a lookout, guys. This is going to be a fun race. Sorry, I got distracted there by seeing someone in yellow. Or what do you think about this game is you can put in some sort of code as you're playing it, and you can change different colors of Ori himself. And I believe that was revealed at SG2 2015 when Bulletin was running this. Just literally, the devs were on a call. And they said, "Oh, put this
cheat code in."
Yeah. And Bulletin, like, all of our minds were blown. So you put your own flavor on it. Kind of bring your own personality to the run. So. Want to remind you guys again, this is Speedrunning Underground. Any bits that are thrown down during the course of these races, a portion of that will go to the winner of said races. So Richard threw in, I think, 25 or 50 bits at the beginning of this, so he's going to try to just get
some of that back.
I'm just going to have to mail that back to him right now if he holds on, but we'll see.
All right, well, our runners will be underway very shortly, so I'm going to go ahead and switch us back over to this screen, and I just want to... I want to start the rally for Smashy, okay? Folks, like, start cheering Smashy on, with or without bits, just cheer her on in chat, because I want to see this go to game 3. I'm super excited for this to potentially be a best of 3 that goes all the way. And even though I sync their timers, they, of course, are slightly out of sync again, because that's how Twitch works, unfortunately.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah, so we'll get them synced up for you again. There we go. It's looking a lot better now. All right. And yeah, we're off again.
right side of the screen. All right. Once again, guys, so starting off, the most basic piece of movement tech when we're running around with Ori is just you want to not be on the ground as much as you can. You kind of want to run and jump. It cuts out a lot of the friction kind of running around, and it kind of maintains a little bit of the momentum off that initial running. So, see, they're picking up, that is their first energy cell that you saw, kind of they were picking up throughout the run. Again, the energy cell goes towards a number of different things. It's going to allow them to be able to do stuff like the charge dashes we said at the end of the run, but also just energy cells, their main focus casually, and we'll be using it a lot, is to lay down save points. This game does have a handful, and I do mean a handful of just designated save points throughout the world and throughout the map. But other than that, it is all up to you to lay down your own saves and be able to tell, okay, is this a scary section I'm coming up on? Do I need to lay down a safety save here or not? And you'll see different preferences from the players as they go. Another thing you're noticing right there, you might have seen they kind of stopped there and there was a little blip on the screen of sorts. That's a cutscene right there, and they got to kind of skip over a lot of that by having the UI off and not having to actually see the text. Again, by them not having that UI on, they don't have to see all that text, but it now makes it to where they have to keep count of their health. So if they take any damage, they have to know off the top of their head, okay, I'm now at X amount of health, I can still take this damage boost. They don't have to have much counting because there's we're only going to get to like 5 or 6 health throughout this run.
And the other thing is that they have to keep track of their experience as well for those specially timed level
that's
ups.
The big thing.
Both are managing their health very specifically. As you can see, they both skipped a health drop because they want to be at 1 health for this ghost door trick that we saw several times. Smashy putting the keystones in the doors, placing a save and dying just moments before Richard did the same. So Smashy taking that small lead in the early game again. And I think Smashy's actually, sorry to talk over you for a second, but I think Smashy's actually kind of known for having a pretty solid early game, especially, given her PB not necessarily being like the fastest, it's faster than mine, but not being, the fastest, but she can generally keep up with runners that are several positions ahead of her on the leaderboards via her early game. So going to be continuing to, pride herself in that as it's proving to be useful in this run as well.
Yeah, and not to knock her at all. I find that with a lot of runners that you'll see, it must be just this general skill throughout the entire game when you see runners across all games. They have a little bit lower PB than the other players. A lot of times early on, they've seen this early game more and more, and so they're generally able to keep up. It's really seen kind of in that end game who's put in the time and work most of the time to see who's able to keep up. So once again, Smashy getting up to our second skill right here. The wall jump mechanic, allowing you to obviously jump up the walls.
Yeah,
and
we're not
on the
gonna,
left side, we're going to be big up.
Sorry, we're not going to go over like every tiny thing again. Don't worry, folks. We know you just saw that. We'll try to talk more about like how the runners are doing compared to each other, but we did want to give a couple minor, brief refreshers as we go as well, just for those who didn't catch the beginning of last time.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say about how they're doing, I appreciate Smashy giving us all the different colors, showing off that cheat code. Maybe some other people let her know that I was talking about that.
But falling off the wall as well, and oh man, falling down again, taking damage this time, falling down once more, giving Richard the early lead, and Smashy, of course.
I just complimented her, and now we're having troubles with this sweet platform.
Yeah, we call that the Trojan log in honor of our friend Trojan Dude, who classically had some troubles with that log one time.
It's just so weird how it's curved just a little bit away from you on that left side, the one we want to use.
It's also weird how it's not a log, but instead a rock, and yet we call it a log.
I can tell your community must like these. Right.
Just the way it goes sometimes, man. But Richard taking that lead back. He's going to head into Blackroot Burrows with it. And once again, he's going to be doing one of those save anywhere tricks. Going to do just a little bit of, a few inputs here in order to gain control of Ori behind the ability menu. The ability tree, as it were. He's going to level up an ability as he enters the cutscene that's about to play here. And normally this is an unskippable cutscene, but because abilities save the game, hence the name Save Anywhere, when he reloads, the cutscene will be skipped. Smashy follows suit just a few moments behind.
So here we got one of the 2 dungeons that were added.
Real quick, yo Spike, maybe move your phone away from your microphone.
Oh, whoopsies, yeah.
All right, I'm sorry.
parents' house. Whatever. Okay.
Continue. Blackroot burrows.
But again, going into one of these two, the Blackroot burrows. Going here into one of the two exclusive dungeons to Definitive Edition, where we have to pick up our the first of our new exclusive skills. Again, this is the all skills category. So simply get all the skills, and then we can try to go beat the game. So that's what all the routing is based around. A bit of an escort mission here. They're going to try to carry this light orb all the way throughout, triggering different areas to allow us to get to move. Ooh, Richard getting bumped in the butt right there. It's going to let that last energy orb move over his head. And now dealing with these insta-kill cycles.
And Smashy also missed some experience that Richard picked up. Remember, the upcoming sequence break actually is very dependent on your experience count. So hopefully Smashy saw, I didn't quite get a glance at her experience on the way in, but hopefully she saw what it was and she knew, all right, I'm safe to skip this. It'll be totally fine.
Moving up here, as you can see, once again, like we said, this is a very cycle-based area where if your movement's just a little bit off, you can actually lose a bunch of time missing cycles in this area with how slow the platforms move. Richard moving into the final room right here. Again, having to carry this orb with them will actually is what allows you to stand on these light platforms. You couldn't just grab them in the dark. They do not exist.
Yeah, they're not solid. And wow, Smashy with another aggressive platform cycle on the right side there. They actually had a bit of control over how that cycle started. And so Smashy just trying to catch up the frames that she needs to save herself in this race. Now, Richard's doing a trick. We didn't really talk about this last race, where he's actually doing another one of those save anywhere tricks. Oh, and he's doing a variation that I'm not sure he's practiced. But basically, he's going to skip the cutscene that lifts the darkness in the area. In Richard's case, he actually didn't skip the cutscene, but instead got control of Ori early. Now, Smashy is going to completely skip the cutscene. Richard did it this way, so that way he can overlay two cutscenes on top of each other and gain control of Ori during this dash tree. So you can see he's moving off screen already. Smashy stuck at the tree. Now Richard, I'm not sure he even saved the full time with that. I think he just wanted to do it for fun.
Yeah, see how far he could get. Do you know how far players who are more experienced with it can get?
It's
honestly
get
all the way out of the dungeon.
It's a brand new discovery within the last week or two. So I'm not super familiar with it, but I believe they can at least get over the gap that Richard opted to wait for. And I think that gave Smashy just a little bit more time back into this. Now, both coming up on that Frankie Walk sequence break. Spike, you learned this at one point, right?
I saw people do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you learned it at one point. It's tougher than it looks.
Yeah, I think this was the one, again, tortoise in the hare. I was the tortoise in those races. I just was doing the normal way. But basically, they were luring this Frankie all the way over a frog. This Frankie all the way over to this door. And there has to be 4 energy cells placed, or 4 energy pieces of energy put into this door. They're going to put 2 in the door and then get the level up, which forces them to refill that energy. And then put the other 2 in the door. It's very scary here, though.
Richard missed his famous death glide again, which he likes to say is free, so I'm just going to give him a bunch of shit about missing it 2 races in a row. But he is going to make a safety... Ooh, not quite making a safety save yet. All right, there it is. Now making one. Before attempting to get an earlier cycle on these upcoming crushers. They both missed this last time. Let's see if Richard can get it this time. He's going to wait just a hair and then do a series of dashes, and he's not even close to getting it. So Smashy
kind of gave up on it there.
Chance to catch up here if she can nail this, and she does! Great job for Smashy. You can see she's already further into the crushers than Richard is. So excellent job saving her 8 seconds and taking the lead over Richard now.
Wow, that was a big play right there. And looked like she made it with a little bit of room to spare even. Again, setting up that save after putting the keystones in the door and then taking that immediate death in order to go through. Now they're coming up on their next skill. Again, this time is Smashing the lead, coming up on double jump. just as we saw with the last trick, setting up a save once they get it from the skill tree, and then they're going to be doing a lot of off-screen movement as that cutscene is playing. So this takes just a lot of good knowledge of the geography of the map, knowing where to go. Smashy getting pretty far up the wall even, getting around some spikes, taking a hit there, unintentional, laying down a save though, so a death that takes a big punishment out of it.
Dodging the spider's attacks here, but luckily Smashy much better than last time through that blind movement. Richard much worse than last time, so widening that lead for Smashy just a little bit more as she comes up to that precise series of jumps that we call grotto skip. She's going to use the wall here, a very specific spot, and to nail it first try. And it is much harder than it looks, and it skips about half of the area. So now
Richard fell down here last time. Let's see if he's able to get it. Ooh, having a little bit of trouble once again with it. This one giving him some fits.
He did get it finally, but definitely slower than Smashy there, so no time gain for him. That is a very hard trick, and it's one that generally, if you kind of mess up your setup for a little bit, you'll maybe lose even more time just to get you to your normal setup, because it's one of those just rhythm tricks. Smashy, though, on the right, wanted to skip this cutscene here. As you can see, it's broken. That's why we don't like to see it. But she, unfortunately, has to watch it because she wasn't able to place her save in time. Richard, on the left, is going to skip it, so he'll be saving just quite a bit, or not, I wouldn't say a lot of time, but a few seconds on Smashy there as she picks up the key to the first dungeon again.
Yeah, it definitely cuts into that lead. A lot of the good that she did there throughout this dungeon got taken away right there by not skipping that cutscene. So
and Smashy
kind of plays back and forth. Ooh,
having trouble getting out of Moon Grotto, got hit by the suicide slime there, and oh man, okay, sorry, I thought for a second that she was going to get hit by the next slime's shots, and she's on pretty low health at the moment, but she does opt to damage boost through the next slime anyways. Richard's really trying to catch up here.
All right, both of them coming up here. And also just want to note another basic mechanic of this game for you guys is that all these little, like, orange cells, though, that they're picking up, those are experience. So there'll be different types of them. There's going to be an ability cell coming up here pretty soon that just effectively gives you an entire level by itself. So these clear orbs as opposed to the green or blue ones are.
Smashy's been having
a lot of its own preference.
Smashy's been having trouble with jump pads and wall jumps, and she's really giving Richard a lot of time back. She's only narrowly keeping that lead by maybe 5 seconds at most. And now both runners have to go touch this spirit well in order to activate it as a teleporter later in the game. As you might have noticed last run, that's actually where they teleported for the very final bit of the game. Smashy going for another save and reload cutscene glitch here, just to gain movement of Ori as this cutscene starts playing. Richard will be doing the same. His save actually looks a bit far. We'll see if he made this or not. He did. Okay, so good job from Richard there, barely making it in range. And now Smashy's entering Ginso with the lead.
This looks like almost the exact same deficit it was coming into here last time. It was Smashy by a handful of seconds, maybe about a room or so. And then she had a little bit of trouble with this climb, taking 3 damage on some of these spinies. We'll see how she's able to adjust here.
Yeah, we like to call them Gamers from Metroid.
All right.
I like to steal that from Super Metroid. But Smashy not quite getting the optimal cycle there. Certainly doing a bit better than Richard, who I think might have died or something. I missed what happened with him. Either he missed he missed something up because he definitely lost some more time there. He either fell down or died. But he is having a better cycle through the second room, so that's at least going to catch him up some of that time that he just lost.
Only took 1 damage there at the very end. Picked up the health cell right there. I keep calling it cell. Had the health pick up there to refill it. Health drop, sure, yeah. We'll learn the terminology. It's all right. Moving through here. Once again, every time they go through one of these portals, it is refunding their double jump. So that is what allows them to chain these together so well. Smashy moving into the mini-boss right here. Again, optimally, they want to try to see, semi-optimally, they want to try to see a 5-cycle right here. You can get a 4-cycle in this game, but it's like a few people in the world have been able to do it.
Yeah, it's not easy by any means. Smashy going with the ever-popular for keyboard and mouse runner method of using the scroll wheel, I believe. That's what it looked like to me. Binding attack to the scroll wheel and using that to attack as quickly as possible. Richard having to mash it out on controller for himself. He has taken a bit of damage, so he has to be careful here not to get hit again, or he could potentially die. Smashy, meanwhile, is going to be heading to pick up Bash again, and this looks like an even better lead than she had last time.
Yeah, definitely just didn't have the troubles on the climb room there, going through the gamers or Super Metroid thingers, whatever they're called. But going in, getting her next skill, getting Bash, again, one of my favorite just movement options in video games ever.
Absolutely.
Anytime you see one of these like kind of hanging lights or anything, or primarily also just enemies or projectiles, they're going to be able to use that, sort of grab it, send it in the opposite direction, and send Ori wherever you want to send him.
Nice little one-frame trick from Smashy as well, to launch the projectile in one direction and then follow it with Ori. That way she could skip some other spitter cycles. Now we've go ahead. She's setting up for that key duplication trick again. You don't need to worry too much about how the details of this work. Just know that an intentional death will happen, and they will each duplicate the 3 keys in their inventory in order to grab 7 total when leaving this area. Smashy did it excellently first try.
Death off of it, yeah.
So now it looks like they're tied at the moment, which is funny, but Richard still has to duplicate those keys, and Smashy just gets to pick up the 4 in the world and move on. So Smashy's still keeping that lead. That's probably about an 18 to 20 second lead, I would guess.
Yeah, again, allowing her to hold on to just a couple of keystones that then she'll get to use later on, or both players are going to get to use later on, skipping out on some really, really slow ones that you probably literally just can't even get to due to the fact that we're leaving the Jinzo tree early. And again, for anyone who didn't catch last time what this actually does, by leaving out off of this save point, it's going to leave all of the water throughout the world still poison. Even though it's not going to look like it's poison, beating the Jinzo tree cleans the water.
I think Richard might have had trouble with his first key dupe attempt too. It looked like he had to take 2 tries at it, so definitely losing quite a bit of time there. Oh, Smashy taking a death herself, but not one that's going to be too costly. Richard's finally gotten all the keys he needed and can head out now. But Smashy's heading towards that swamp entry trick that gave her trouble last time. Not really due to her fault, like not really her fault for the most part. The frog decided to shoot a projectile through a ceiling instead of breaking it, but we'll see if it goes better for her this time, because this is certainly a trick that can wall even the most experienced runners sometimes, and will potentially be an easy catch-up point. We'll see if she can get this first try though.
Yeah, once again, lays down that save point. We'll see how Richard is feeling right now. You might be able to tell in whether he lays down a save point himself. Do you find that you don't really change where you put your save points to keep those consistent?
Because they cost energy, I tend to keep them consistent, but occasionally go for some extras. And Smashy, great job getting through their first try, not getting trolled by the shot this time. So excellent job from her. And now Richard is taking his blind movement to go up to the same area.
Yeah, we'll see if he can match that. Was able to nail it. Was really well done in the first race. See how he goes here in round 2 of it. And getting this frog all the way over here.
Looking good so far. He does a slightly different method than Smashy does, because Smashy has access to those easier double dashes from being on the keyboard and mouse. And Richard looks great. Yeah, there he is, through first try again. What a nice job from both runners here. Very difficult trick, and they're making it look pretty easy.
Yeah, almost picture perfect. It almost looks like he just played a VOD of his last race right there. It looked almost exactly the same, the setup. Nice to see that kind of consistency out of a player. So with that, they're crossing paths. One of them's heading in to get Stomp. The other player going in, or the other player, Smashy, leaving there.
Yeah, I think she's calling you just to, be like, I got it first try this time, I'm keeping
Turn that volume there.
All right, but Smashy had trouble with this as well, and wow, gets a first try this time. So that was a little scary for her last time, but excellent job. She had some more hiccups in the early game, but she's doing a lot better on the things that gave her trouble last run. We'll hopefully see that continue all the way through Sarabash, because that is certainly the big trick that cost her time last time. And does not manage to skip the cutscene.
Maybe, I'm assuming that was just her being a little bit low.
I think she was a bit too far left. It's always very hard to tell. And she doesn't like that setup this time. It's going to take a little bit slower lineup at it. She fails it again. She decides not to
She's watching
try
the
again.
cutscene.
This cutscene skip is very, very precise. It got a lot harder in the definitive edition than it was in the original. And Richard, if he skips this, they're going to be pretty close to tied again. He's still going to be behind, but not quite as much as he is going into this trick.
Yeah, really one of Smashy's first major mistakes of this run. Let's see if Richard can nail this. Doesn't like the look of the first one or the second one or the third one.
But he does get it in the end, so that extra bit of time setting it up is exactly what he needed to make sure that he saved the time. No bird on the screen for him. He is also going to grab that extra health cell that he did last time in order to give him 5 health throughout the upcoming areas, some of which have spikes that deal up to 4 damage.
Coming up here on our next skill, you're gonna have to remind me, what is even the name of this skill? Because it's so rarely used. It's like a grenade charge.
It's a charge flame, yeah. Charge flame.
Charge flame. Sure. Okay.
It's a very early game skill. It's a skill that the game wants to give you 3rd in the run. However, these runners are picking it up 7th because of that Frankie Walk sequence break they did. Now, Smashy is doing another one of those save anywhere tricks, a bit longer than is absolutely necessary in order to skip a long cutscene from the Hologrove Spirit Tree. Now you can see she's charging up that orb of energy and releases it to blow up that wall. That is what Charge Flame is, and we will not see much else of it throughout the rest of this run.
All right, and good. All right, yeah, a good run. All right. I want to remind you guys to give both of these players a follow. They're both in the Ori and the Blind Forest tournament right now. This game is super, super sexy to watch. And yeah, the players... Again, we're about to go into that section of the run that I always call where the run just goes into overdrive. Just all the different skills they have now. I mean, bashing off of so many different things. Setting up for this trick, Hobson, I'm going to let you take it away and explain how this trick coming up works once again.
Yeah, Smashy on your right, the first to come up to it. This time, last time she was actually the second to come up to it and managed to catch up most of her deficit from this trick. So she performs this excellently again. She can go ahead and maintain that lead. So this is fast stompless. There's a set of rocks that we need to stomp, but instead she's going to fire that spider shot in a precise location in order to hit those rocks. She has to race away to pick up this ability cell and then get warped into the cutscene with excellent timing. Nice job from Smashy showing great consistency with that trick, and she's going to maintain that lead. Now, Richard on the left side, he's going to come up to it next, and this actually gave him trouble last time. He ended up having to bail on the trick entirely. So hopefully he can redeem himself here and not lose any more time. He's not liking these setups for these first couple shots. Going to take another shot at it. You can see that his mouse actually has shown up. He likes to switch to keyboard and mouse for this trick specifically. And it looks like he didn't get it for the second time. Oh, no, he did. Oh, no,
I'm sorry.
He actually moved as quickly as possible, and so he faked me out.
So he had extra time waiting, yeah.
Which I should have known because I know he does it that way, but he faked me out. Smashy, meanwhile, on the right side, heading up for her Sorrow Bash attempt.
This is a huge moment for her. She had a lot of trouble.
Opting for no safety save this time. Last time she took a safety save, and this time she didn't need it.
She didn't even care, dude. Now, the problem is, when's the next time you can place a safety save? There's really not a great place for it here, isn't there?
Yeah, no, very up to the runner on whether they pick up some extra energy in order to place the safety save or not, because every time you use one of those rocket jumps that gets you all that height, it costs you energy. So she's going to place the safety save right here, opting to skip a ghost door attempt coming up momentarily, and wow, great thing that she did because immediately dashed into spikes.
For that placement.
You can see those spikes deal 4 health, so even though she's full HP, she still instantly dies to him. Richard now on the left going for his Sorrow Bash, and he has already had some trouble with the birds, but it looks like this time he's going to be clear on through. Great job from Richard, but still not quite keeping up with Smashy in this race so far.
Yeah, starting to run out of time, but there are a number of little dungeons that they're still going to have to go into. Again, at this point, we're really just trying to fill out that skill tree for us. So they're getting the charge jump ability right there, able to get a lot of height very quickly. Again, all these movements coming together, and now Smashy moving her way back over to the area where
takes a rough death back to charge jump, and Richard's getting closer and closer.
To come up to it. Yeah, all of a sudden that lead just dropped to probably less than 20 seconds, probably around 15 with that death. That one was definitely painful.
Now you can see both runners have their ability menu open and have control of Ori behind it. This is for the same trick, Terra Break, that Smashy just executed perfectly. Just a little glitch to open that ceiling, an easier method than we previously had. And now Richard just goes for the longer movement in order to save himself in energy here. But it looks like he should be fine as well. So Richard definitely caught up some time in Sorrow. Even though his Sorrow Bash, the biggest trick in the run, took longer, he definitely caught up some time just by moving in that area.
Yeah, definitely seeing some pretty intense swings right here. This race has been, Smashy's been in the lead practically the entire race, but that amount of the lead has certainly never been comfortable with her, has always moved between she's up a little bit to not much at all.
Yeah, it's swung pretty wildly in both directions in terms of, you know, how wide or small that lead is. But Smashy is going to look to try to widen that gap in the upcoming area Misty Woods. Now she's going to do another one of those rocket jumps, but this time downwards. We call it a meteor kick, and bam! There you go, flying on down much faster than you can get from ordinary movement. The way that works is basically just using a charge dash to homing attack an enemy, and then canceling it with a jump, or using a feather. Either one will give you all that speed. It'll stop the game's speed cap, and Richard doing the same thing. Smashy, beautiful movement so far into Misty.
I wonder what all these enemies in the Misty Woods are thinking as this just this Super Saiyan is just
the
shooting.
The small leaf creature just flies at them wildly. Yeah.
It's just like, you, come here, bam, let's go. God, the Misty Woods is so good in this run.
It is.
Okay,
Smashy's on 1 health, though. I want to point that out immediately. Smashy's on 1 health. If she doesn't take a safety save, and she only has 1 energy, so she can't take a safety save without sacrificing the ability to charge dash at things. So, wow, going through all these spikes with 1 health, just be very careful. It's a little close. But she makes it through, so she's safely to climb. Climb is going to give her an easy automatic save.
Scary
great
moment.
job.
She takes a death anywhere throughout there. Richard takes the lead. That's insane. Richard having some trouble here himself, taking a couple of extra pieces of damage.
And now he'll be getting to climb shortly, narrowly dodging spikes as well, but he's through safely. Both runners high-fiving each other as they head opposite directions. Smashy for the exit of Misty, Richard for the climb tree. Smashy doing more rocket jumps. Those cost energy every single time you do them, so that's why they have to do a limited amount throughout the run. They can, however, refund the energy of the charge dashes that they do via stomping or bashing. As you can see, Smashy just did a stomp and then jumped before her charge dash ended.
Ooh, Smashy taking 1 extra hit there on that branch going through. Again, these spikes sticking out everywhere. They're very, borrow one from Covert Muffin at AGDQ, these spikes are very spiky.
Yes, they are, and they deal 3 damage apiece. Smashy, remember, has 1 less health than Richard because she did not get a slower health cell. Even though she is going to need a minimum of 5 to end the run, there is a slower one that Richard went for. They ops you early safety, and wow, Smashy with a nice rocket jump through the meatball shaft, gets up and through, and now she'll be coming up to Misty Meatball. She's got to be feeling good right now because this has been a great display of skill ever since the early game.
A lot of confidence, yeah. That's got to pump her up a lot going through that entire situation. Richard, unfortunately, taking a death, going back a little bit, died in the meatball shaft. Coming up again on it pretty soon, so not a terrible time loss, but again, right now that lead's starting to grow for Smashy. Certainly can't afford it at this point.
And he also has just good movement from Smashy to compete with. You know, her mini-boss kill wasn't the cleanest, but neither was Richard's right there. So looking to be probably about the same amount of time as long as he does it successfully here, and he isn't yet. Smashy is still powering through, trying to get over to Blackroot Burrows and pick up the last skill she needs for this category as quickly as she can.
Yeah, unbelievable. I gotta love when, like, that fight wasn't very good because we saw the boss.
I know, right?
You could process there were 2 of them. For a while, I went, oh, no, it's the same one. No. All right. And with that, we are back in that area we went into initially. This is kind of the other half of the extra area that they threw into the game for Definitive Edition, going to get Light Grenade, our final skill, and then we're going to be going on to finish up the game. And trying to avoid these instant death lasers.
Going for an early cycle on one of them, too. I mean, Smashy, with balls bigger than her boyfriend's, is doing very well in this race, and those are his words, not mine. I just gotta throw that one out. Bruce in chat.
Bruce, I love you. I'm sure your balls are great. Not bad. Okay. So, anyways, moving up here, getting our last skill, the Light Grenade. Something like Hobbs said in the last race, something that we didn't, or the community didn't find really much use for at all throughout the run, kind of just like a casual skill to pick up. It's going to be very, very useful, particularly for the very last trick of the game.
It is indeed, and Smashy having to wait on a laser cycle here, that's pretty common for most runners, so good job by her to do that. Ooh, wow, narrowly dodging a second one, but gets a nice rocket jump all the way to the top. Richard, meanwhile, not doing too poorly. He's just keeping that lead to be about the same as it was before, and hopefully he can avoid that from, you know, extending or going smaller at all.
We're seeing about a similar gap from the first race, just with the leader being flipped at this point. Now Smashy going into this final couple of tricks, door warp, and whatever you guys call the last trick, the light grenade jump that they're
grenade jump. Exactly, perfect.
Just grenade jump. All right, yes. I just added a word. That's my own touch. That's what I call it. Moving in here, Smashy's going to be picking up one extra health cell coming out here very soon.
Yeah, this
I
is
believe
one.
You said Richard does not pick it up.
Richard skips that because he got the one earlier in the run. So Smashy waited until that moment to get that cell because it's a faster one to pick up than the one that Richard went for. But they are pretty similar in time, so mainly just a preference thing. Smashy going for the grenade jump again, even though she's got that lead and needs to maintain it. And wow, frame perfect tricks surely aren't hard for her at all. Gets right over to the door and is going to be going for that door warp. Now, Spike, I know we went over this before. How's this trick work?
Okay, this trick works by, the game auto saves you right here as you enter the dungeon. You're then going to reload the save, and on the frame that the game loads up, if they tap up on that frame, they're able to get it.
Excellent
Smashy
job.
First try.
First try from
Ladies and gentlemen,
Smashy. 2 races in a row.
They wanted 3 matches tonight. We might be seeing it, but she still has to do this escape. Richard on it as well. Let's see if he's able to match it and get it first try.
Here we go. Some runners opt to mash, some runners opt to time this trick, and Richard opts for the timing and gets it first try as well.
God,
not letting himself out of this race just yet. If Smashy takes too many deaths or has a soft lock at the end, she'll be sent back to the beginning of this escape. You cannot make any saves for the entirety of this final escape. Smashy, oh my god, almost getting killed by that lava pillar there. Has to now power through to the dirty water swim. Spike, how much health does she have again?
She has 5 health right now.
She has 6 health, but all right, nice try.
And there's water on screen. I did it, right?
Yes,
Yay.
There's water. Oh, wow, she got bashed in a bad location, but she saved herself.
Able to get out of it. Took
Just in time, but she spawns the bird. She went for a skip on spawning the bird there. Now she has to make her way up, and she can despawn Kuro, but does she know the trick to do so? She falls into the cutscene. She is not going to save the time to the final grenade jump.
Okay, Richard's coming up now. Is this gonna... How close is this race gonna be right here?
This is going to be insanely close. Richard also takes the extra death. We missed it, but Richard went for 5 health. Richard knew that he needed to save every moment he could in this run, so he skipped that 6 health cell in order to save himself 8 seconds. Unfortunately, it spelled his disaster, and he will not be able to take this race away. Still going to be a very close one, though. Smashy just has to hold right for the rest of the game.
Oh my god, dude. If he survives that, who do you think wins that?
That would have been so... I think he would have won. I think Richard would have gotten it with a first try grenade jump. It would have been so close.
My god.
He's still going to be very close as long as he does the swim properly, and he does this time. So he's going to try... Oh, but he dashes right into a boulder. these boulders are not in the same position once you've died once, and really, really unfortunate location for him there. So going to be taking another attempt now, but man, Richard got to be kicking himself for that 5 HP decision at this point. It is certainly one that is a ballsy move. When you're behind like that, sometimes you got to pull out those kinds of strats, because I'm sure that Richard was indeed watching Smashy's stream during this race. Yeah. I think Smashy was as well, but I'm not 100% sure. Smashy, I missed the timer, but she did just finish. She actually finished with a 34.05. Great job from Smashy. We're going to game 3, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, that is exciting. She held the lead pretty much from the start of the run, and it kind of bounced back and forth right up to the end until she was a little ways into the final cutscenes. She did not know she had that one in the bag.
No.
My God, what an amazing, amazing race
You can see on the replay that Richard got his grenade jump successfully, so now you can see exactly why we do that trick. Smashy took a minute and a half or so almost to watch those ending cutscenes, and Richard meanwhile was able to cut out a large portion of that and is already holding right for victory at the end here. Wow, what a great race, Spike.
Wow, that's exciting. Those are the types of races that we want to see here on Speedrunning Underground. Definitely the best race we've had so far, and we're not done with these two players for the night.
No, we are not, because the series is now tied 1-1, and we are going to head into our tiebreaker match to see who comes away victorious on Speedrunning Underground Week 3. Oh man, I'm excited, dude. This is going to be a grudge match.
So we're getting here, both players again watching the credits right now, giving them a little bit of a break. I want to ask you, you know both these players better than I do. What do you think their mindset is here going into game 3? Are we nervous? Are we excited? Are we pissed off? You know, what do you think both these players, what's going through their heads right now?
I think they're both just having a blast right now. I think they're having a ton of fun. But on top of that, I would imagine that the nerves are probably going to hit them a little bit for this third one. I believe both. I'll get a confirmation from the runners. I believe they're both watching each other, so they do know. You know, like throughout the race, they have a slight idea of like how is my opponent doing, and we saw it from Richard there. It affected his strats. He decided I'm going to pick up only 5 health instead of 6, so that I can try to save that little bit of time, and it spelled his demise. So I can't believe we got 2 matches around a minute apart in a row from these two.
Yeah, from in different directions as well. It shows off the players and their consistency. I mean, you take away just those last couple of deaths, those risky plays by Richard. They're both playing really close to the exact time they just got in the last race. Just time losses in different places. Hobbs, I know you've participated in a lot of tournament races yourself, and Ori and a couple other games. Are you the kind that likes to know what your opponent's up to? Do you like to watch what they're doing?
I do. Real quick, I just technical little hiccup there. We've lost Spike's video feed. If you take a look, Spike, you should be able to re-enable it. I believe it's just because we've been sitting in this lobby for so long at this point. But
one is ever.
I do actually prefer to watch my opponent when I go for these races. In fact, my last opponent in the tournament, I raced Vooligen, and we were even in a voice call together to be able to tell each other kind of what was going on. So I think it's useful to know and potentially adapt your strats based on how you're doing versus your opponent. And I don't disagree with Richard's call at all there to go for the 5 health. He knew he needed every second he could get to potentially clutch out a win there, and I don't disagree with it at all. He also knew that he had the 1-0 lead at the moment, so he could sacrifice a loss that he was already looking to get, probably, based on, going for a risky strat like that. So I think it's a wise choice. I will check and see if Smashy is watching her opponent as well, watching Richard, and we'll see. Spike, you having trouble with that webcam there still?
I tapped the button. Should I leave the call and come back in, maybe?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and do that? I will go back to this scene for a moment. And, no big deal. Shouldn't have to leave Discord, just the other. I think he left Discord anyways, maybe.
No, I'm here.
You're here. Okay, great.
I'm trying to save.
Alrighty, so wow, we're going to game 3. I wasn't sure, man. I knew that these runners were going to be pretty close, but I was not sure we were going to be going to game 3. I am so excited.
I believe. Can you see me now?
I can. Alright, so let's make it so everybody can see you. There we go.
Hey, welcome back to me. Okay, cool. Let's set back up. Okay. But yeah, absolutely insane match right there. You know, it's one thing to see Ori flying across the screen, but what I love about a race is that it allows you guys to notice all the it's not just this like blur across the screen of this little leaf creature. You guys get to notice all the little optimizations from both players. Everybody's this game, it seems like it has a lot of room. I don't run it myself, but it seems like it has a lot of room to kind of put your own personality behind it. Go for your own strats that you're comfortable with. Little different movements. I like to bash off of certain enemies and whatnot. So getting to see those side by side, and it ends up being they're both in the final escape at the final time. My God, dude. It was, you pointed out, the skipping the health cell. It might seem a little overly risky. I remember I watched Smashy. She nailed the door warp. And I was like, okay, that might have done it for her. And I look over at Richard. I'm like, wait, he's at the front door himself. I said, what happened? I didn't know he skipped that health cell.
I didn't quite catch it until we were in the final escape, and I could see that he didn't have 6 health. So, I mean, it was what ultimately spelled his demise, but he has done that before as well in the Ori and the Blind Forest tournament that we've been running. So, like I said earlier, I don't disagree with that call at all. I think it was a solid call to make. It was one that he felt he needed to be able to catch up, because even if Smashy had taken an early death in the escape, she would have still had the lead. So Absolutely. He really needed to minimize that as much as possible to try to just have a cleaner escape. So I think it was the right call. It just unfortunately didn't work out for him this time. And
I want to give a shout outs to our correspondent down on the field, the Roos is Loose.
Yeah, who's in the same room as Smashy.
Yeah, he was over at my place. I was like, go wherever she lives, go find her. We're gonna need that. We need them beats.
Well, it's pretty easy when they live together. But
that's they're both excited. We're excited for you guys again. This is Speedrunning Underground. As you can see right below us, this is week 3. We've already brought you guys some great races of Celeste, Super Mario Odyssey. Now we're bringing you this best 2 out of 3 race. First time we've done a 2 out of 3 with Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition. All skills is the category. They're getting all the skills and beating the game. This is one of the best modern speed games out there. Make sure you guys check out more of it on Speed Gaming. With the tournament going on. I want to remind you guys, with Speedrunning Underground, see we've had a lot of generosity in chat for all these bits being thrown in. A portion of the bits that are thrown down during these races will go to the winner of this next race now. We are going to Game 3. The winner of this is going to take it tonight. So any bits you guys want to throw into the cup, feel free, guys. And some of that's going to go to the winner.
I can't even call it. I'm gonna very quickly, before we get these runners going, I'm just gonna quickly get some water, because I don't know if my voice is gonna hold up for this exciting action.
I'm gonna get some water myself.
That is the third one. So we'll be right back, folks. Farm those ads, start watching them if Twitch is letting you, and farm those bits rather, and we'll get going with Game 3 here in just a moment. Alright, looks like I'm the first to return. Oh man, am I excited for this one, guys. I was hoping that we would see a match this close out of these folks. That's why we made it best 2 out of 3. On top of Ori just being a very short game in general, it's also just like it's so easy for leads to swing one way or the other, and we knew that out of 2 runners of this caliber, both being so similar in skill and both being very skilled overall, that we wanted to see the best that we could out of him, and we knew we wanted to go best of 3. So I'm really excited. I even, you know what, I got some water, Spike, but I think it's time to break out the Red Bull on this one, dude. Not a sponsor, but like I need the energy for this one, I think, because hot damn, dude, was that a good race?
Yeah, that was it was all right. It's gonna be pretty chill. We're gonna call a race tonight or two. Like, wow, that ending, dude.
Mm-hmm. So
really all the way throughout. So, anyways,
all right.
Go ahead, take it away.
I hate to do it because I don't want to answer this question myself, but I feel like we need to. Spike, who's your pick?
Man, I mean, I think if I'm gonna lean one way, I'm gonna lean Smashy. I was very impressed with how she nailed, other than the grenade jump right at the end. I thought everything, and like especially the second half of that run, she was just clicking. There was a lot of confidence there. I like to see confidence when I watch a speedrun race. That just, they know what they're going to go for. Throughout Misty Woods, when she just didn't lay down a save and just kept going all the way throughout that was impressive to me. So I'm going to say Smashy carries that momentum from game 2 into game 3. There's also a little bit, when you win the first game, and I don't know Richard well enough to know exactly how he's going to be mentally about it, but after you win the first game, there's this little bit of a letdown, like, okay, now all of a sudden there's this pressure, like, man, I was up 1-0, and then am I going to really let this go at the end? Whereas Smashy, I feel like when you're down 1-0, you're coming from this place
nothing to lose.
I got nothing to lose. Let's just go. So I'm going to take Smashy for this.
Well,
they look pretty evenly.
That works out pretty conveniently because I think I'm going to take Richard on this one. I swear, I was going to take him the whole time. It wasn't just because you picked Smashy, but it does work out conveniently because that's exactly how split I am on this race. I'm going to pick Richard because, like you... Oh, geez, my bad. Turn the volume of that up a bit too high. Because, as you mentioned, Richard had that 1-0 lead and then just lost it. You know, he just went back to an even tie. And I've seen Richard play with fire before. You know, like I've seen him come into matches that he thought he was going to lose or he was worried he was going to lose and really just go all out and just power on through the entire run. So I think we're going to see that out of him again this time. I would not be surprised to see the same kinds of calls that we saw from him at that last one, like maybe going for only 5 health if he falls behind again. And I expect to see even less safety saves if he is behind and needs to really catch up, but maybe take it a bit safer if he has enough of a cushion. So I think it's going to be Richard, but it's like if the bar swings like this, I'm like just barely over to Richard. It could go either way for me.
Sure.
For sure. And man, this is going to be
You can tell we're amped up. You can tell.
Yeah.
He's on his Red Bull. I'm on my natural Red Bull. We're just going.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and get the runners kicked off in just a moment. So once again, folks, I hope you're all having a good time because we sure as hell are. Oh man, Spike. All right, who's taking the early lead this time? Because we've seen an early lead both races, not like a staying super tied.
All right, who's going to be the first one to get to dash? That'll be the call. I'm going to stick with my pick I had beforehand. I'm going to stick with Smashy. Again, I'd like to... she's made it to dash, I believe, both times first. I believe so. Matt, actually, no, or...
has she? I think she has. Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh, I might be mixing it up. No, because Richard hit those cycles... God, I don't remember. It's practically tied. I'm gonna go with Smashy.
So
I'm gonna say Smashy will get there first, and she'll win.
All right, and we are off. Go ahead and switch over to our game audio here now. Off our music. Oh man, dude, I cannot believe how close.
Let's see what colors we get here at the start for the players. This is what's gonna
Richard
be
with a classic
right
blue.
here.
These are random. They just put in a little cheat code and it gives them a random color. But what's funny is I actually stopped doing the color code, as fun as it is, because it actually can be harder to see sometimes.
Sure, based on there's like a transparent color you can get sometimes, isn't there?
No, but like the way the lighting in the game works and the way your backgrounds are, you can have like a dark purple that occasionally makes it look like you can't even see your like you can't even see at all. So
doesn't quite pop like Ori can
Right.
off of, you know, this little white character. Oh, in this dark world, trying to bring light back to it. Oh, that's why Ori's this color.
you got the
I
lore. Good
just
job.
figured it out. 1 minute in, it's a dead heat, ladies and gentlemen. They both got to sign.
Oh man. All right.
All right.
Richard
So
on
again,
the left, Smashy on the right. Start
Taking
cheering,
out these
folks.
3 Froggies.
Start taking your predictions. And by cheer, I mean, you know, with bits or without. Just start putting in your predictions in chat. Who's going to take it? Right now, Richard's got the tiniest of leads. Not even really. They're still just tied here. And man, I cannot. I just hope we get a super close one again, as close as the previous 2.
Yeah, it might almost be like too much for it. But again, it was pretty consistent. Both players won their respective matches by right around a minute. And that, you know, it was a minute gap at the ending of the second race. That's one of those. Richard might have taken it if he doesn't take the death in the final escape. Hobbs, I know you think he would have taken it. So
I think so. It was that close.
That's definitely something else to go with your prediction of him. All right, guys, coming up here, picking up our keystones. Again, every door has a different amount in this game. They just have to pick up 2 here. Trying to dodge some of this experience. Trying to dodge particularly that energy pickup right there. Just trying to skip that little cutscene, that little half-a-second cutscene.
And Smashy, the early lead again. Now, Richard actually had a bit of a weird starting out here. He killed a slime that you don't normally kill and picked up its experience, and he had an earlier health pickup and stuff. So, like, he's definitely thrown a little out of whack so far with this early game. Hopefully his energy is all fine, or his experience rather, because as we've seen from both runs so far, these runners go for specifically timed level ups at various points throughout the run.
Smashy taking some extra damage there, electing to stop to make sure that health drop falls on her, and then turning on her UI real quick, just see what her situation was. I got a real quick look at it. I believe she's at 2 health right now.
Okay, so she cannot damage boost the upcoming wall. On the left side, we might see Richard damage boost it. Let's see. And yeah, he does. Oh man, he had actually taken 1 extra hit earlier on, so that was still a little scary. Smashy, though, did get through just fine, and Richard's now leveling up, blowing up the enemy and brambles all around. Smashy's not leveling up yet, but she will on the way out of this area, and it's not too big of a time difference either way, mainly personal preference which one you go for.
All right, this run already starting off exciting, this race. Just lots of deviations and seeing who's got the health to be able to get through this. Roos is loose. Thank you for the biddies. Once again, guys, throwing down those biddies, letting us know who you want to see win this race. A portion of that will go to the winner of it, and it could be anyone's game at this point.
It's all tied up 1-1 right now. Richard with the slight advantage so far in this match, but certainly nothing that's going to hold too firmly as they head back out. Now, the funny thing about Ori and the Blind Forest is that all of the wall jumping is like pretty precise in this run, because even though the walls look all beautiful and all the textures in the game have all these like nooks and crannies, and you might think that's all just visual and that you're really just jumping up a straight wall, but you're really not.
Nope.
The game actually has collision for all of those tiny little like shapes, and it can make it really difficult to do precise climbing. So you'll often see a lot of those lead differences happen during those moments of climbing.
All right, so far my prediction not looking as good for who's going to get to Dash. We do have the entire dungeon left to go. Richard with a little bit of a lead, maybe 5 seconds or so, heading down to our area where we're going to be picking up the Dash ability, or the Dash skill. Again, using the save anywhere glitch. Again, for anyone who doesn't understand what's going on, they're able to move in the background as they have this ability tree up. And whenever you actually upgrade one of your abilities by leveling up on that screen, the game auto-saves you from wherever you're standing. So it allows you to skip over these cutscene triggers that they just went by. So, nice thing about the Ori and the Blind Forest speedrun. It's a great speedrun. It's got a great story to it, but we don't spoil it for you guys here during it. So.
No, we don't at all. In fact, we specifically try to avoid absolutely every single bit of it. So, coming into Black Group Burrows, the 2 runners did actually level up different abilities. Richard went for that Magnet ability that allows experience and health and those kinds of resources to travel. Oh, sorry to interrupt myself. Richard takes a death. What a value safety save that he placed down just before that. Those spikes deal a lot of damage, and they're certainly no friends of mine, as I've taken plenty of deaths there. So great job from Richard to drop that safety save. To get very quickly back to what I was talking about, though, both runners went for different abilities. Richard went for the magnet ability that allows things to travel to him from further away. Smashy went for rekindle. It allows her to resave at any save point that she's already placed down. Oh, Richard takes another death. That one's significantly more costly. One of the very big problems of the early game is that you don't have very much energy at all. You only have 2 energy cells throughout this entire section, and thus you can't place any additional saves half the time because your saves are tied to your energy. So Richard, not being able to place extra safety saves, certainly would have liked to have that in that kind of situation because, man, those lasers are one-shot kills.
Yeah, that is going to open up a pretty decent lead here. Smashy's going to be looking like probably close to a 30-second lead coming up here on the dash ability. So nice to know I'm 1 for 1 tonight on predicting this match for the different segments. Now she's got to do the rest of the run to there, and I'll be 2-0. So. Certainly
not an insurmountable lead, but it's not a very friendly one for the for early on, especially because as I confirmed from the last match, both runners are indeed watching each other. They, of course, have to deal with Twitch delay, but they are getting those updates every now and then of where their opponent is. So Smashy knows by now that Richard took that huge death and that she has a bit of padding. So she gets to kind of play it safe in some spots if she wants, or not get too nervous about making a small hiccup here and there, whereas Richard has to play from behind the entire time.
It really makes you wonder, like, can that sort of thing almost get in your head too much? Because I know I've seen that sometimes in races where I did take a big lead because my player had a big mistake. And then all of a sudden throughout the rest of the race, I'm like, okay, what do I do differently now? Sometimes it's better just to say, I'm just going to play it the same every time. Maybe Smashy will have a set mindset of, all right, there's a few little things I'm going to do that I will always take a little bit safer in these situations. But other than that, don't try to all of a sudden change your game plan the whole way through. And if you're Richard, it's so early on, do you really start saying, all right, I need to play everything riskier. I'm going to skip that health cell, but I'm going to do a lot more than that. Just I'm never going to use my feather to glide myself into certain places. You wonder to see how different the play style is going to be at this point.
Well,
but again,
certainly something.
It's
something to keep an eye on. We're going to have to keep a watchful eye for that. Smashy going for that timed level up to open up this door, sequence breaking into the end of Moon Grotto, well, kind of the end, but sequence breaking into Moon Grotto so she can do the area backwards. Now she has no energy, which means she can't place any safety saves, and she will go all the way back to the dash tree if she takes a death, but she looks to be pretty safe and gets all the way up to her energy cell, immediately places a save, and she's good to go. Richard is now on his Frankie Walk, so he'll just have to make sure that he doesn't compound on the problems here.
Yeah, Smashy able to avoid the first big bullet of the run after that to maintain her lead. She was able to nail this cycle first time, not getting it here, it looks like. So it didn't take too much of a stab at it.
Costs you about 8 seconds or so. Richard on the left going for Death Glide one more time, and he nails it this time. Finally, that saves you about 1 second.
All right. One down, 29 or so to go. He can make up 8 of them right here as he's coming down on the same segment.
Smashy taking another intentional death. Very fast one at that. Nice job from her. But take a look on the left side. Richard's going to go for that early grotto cycle.
He's 0 for 2 on this so far tonight. Let's see if he can get it.
No, not quite able to.
Unfortunately.
Very
0 for
close.
3 on the ninth there.
But not able to save that 8 seconds. He would have loved to have that going into the section that hasn't really been the easiest for him so far tonight. Now Smashy doing some blind movement. Ooh, fell in the water from the sound of it, and luckily was able to get out in time. That water is poisonous, as it will remain the entire run. So certainly not something you want to be taking a dip in when you can't even see Ori.
Able to lay down her safety save, though. So again, players, I love how often in this run, when you got a little bit of a lead, the players just seem to cross paths. One's going in, one's going out. He's coming up on the double jump himself. You have to do that blind move. We'll see how his blind movement looks compared to her. All right, Smashy coming up. She's been pretty good at this grotto skip right here.
Not
As
quite,
I say that.
not quite first try, but she got it second, and that is perfectly acceptable. She goes for a very fast first try. Richard also fell in the water, I could tell from some of the damage that he took, so also got out safely, but certainly didn't save much time on Smashy there by any means.
About the same speed-wise, I would say, between the two players.
He could potentially save a little bit of time on Grotto Cycling. You might be wondering, you know, all right, well, it looks like it takes you 2 seconds or something every time you go for Grotto Cycle. Why does that matter? But really, we're looking at a combination of tiny time saves, potentially, to get Richard back into this. And he does get it first try.
He nails it. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of game left that, yeah, you might say, okay, just little 1 second here, 2 seconds there. That can make up the difference, absolutely.
And it's what we've seen.
This game has big time loss potential all over the place as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's what we've seen from each of the races so far. Oh, Smashy, again, having trouble with that suicide slime. It's those kinds of small 1 to 2 second mistakes that we've seen Richard capitalize on the last 2 races during this segment of the run. Smashy has the more powerful early game, and last run she had the much more powerful late game. But in that middle ground, you know, between the two, Richard has had a bit cleaner movement generally, and has been catching up quite a bit of time. So maybe he'll be able to make up a lot of this deficit a lot earlier than we might expect. Smashy, again, not a very costly death, but just that extra little bit of time.
There's another 2 seconds out there that Richard can take advantage of.
She had trouble with these bounce pads.
Past the slimes. Go ahead.
Trouble with the bounce pads last time too, but gets through them safely this time, very quickly as well. And falls down a bit earlier than she wanted to, but not too bad. She'll be going and activating her teleporter for later in the run. And Richard, we'll see if he dashes right into the spikes as well, or if he makes it through pretty safely. Pretty much every runner will take a safety save where Richard is right now and where Smashy did, so you tend to try to dash over those spikes since it's not going to cost you very much if you do die. But you can see Richard didn't die that time, and he probably saved a little bit of extra time there.
All right, again, skipping this cutscene here with Gumo, this little NPC outside. Now she's making her way in. Let's try to take note of their entrance of the Jinzo tree. We got a 12:48 entry for Smashy. And we'll see here in a little bit what Richards looks like. It looks like it's going to be somewhere in the ballpark of about 30 seconds, maybe a little bit more. That Smashy still has the lead. Again, for any of you guys who missed the opening, Richard took a couple of very costly deaths getting down to the dash skill, and that's really the difference in this race right now.
In a series that is a best of 3 tied 1-1 right now, Smashy, though, is looking stronger and stronger with each run. That is the cleanest that she has gone through those first 2 rooms of Ginso so far tonight. So great job from her, continuing to improve run from run tonight. Now, Richard has to try to catch up. I didn't quite catch it, but it looked to be...
It's about a 33-second lead for her going into the Ginzo tree.
All right, so...
Yeah, pretty decent. Absolutely something that can be made up, but certainly something you're happy to see if you're Smashy this early on in the run.
And while Richard is going for every bit of time save that he can get, gives an even faster cycle up through those gamers than Smashy did. I'm not 100% sure if his safety save went off, so hopefully he doesn't take any really costly death right here. But Smashy's into the mini-boss. This mini-boss can actually be pretty easy to die to, or just lose a lot of cycles on and lose quite a bit of time. As you can see right there, Smashy having to wait for him to spawn because she didn't see where it was going to pop up. There's a 1-frame tell, a little white flash that will tell you where the boss is going to pop up next. And unfortunately, she just barely missed it. Still a pretty good fight overall, though.
Yeah, once again, one of those where it's going to allow a little bit of an opportunity for Richard.
Yeah, and one fighter exits, one fighter enters. Richard now going to be doing his job to take out this mini-boss as quickly as possible. He gets trolled a little bit by some of the damage bramble thingies. I don't know what we fucking call them, that get left on the ground from these worms. A little random, I think, or maybe position based to tell whether those get landed. So looks like his mini boss was potentially even worse than what Smashy had to deal with. In addition, his health is not set up how he would prefer it to be. Oh, in fact, actually it is, because he decides not to take a safety save. If Richard dies before getting up to his ghost door, then he is going to go have to fight that mini boss again. That's how far back he's going to go. I wouldn't expect it to happen, but it's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, gotta get through this last little bit of bramble. Took a little bit of damage right there, but he should.
That was intentional to set up for this door death, and there we go. He is good to go, so he gets through fine. Good job from him to not let that lack of safety really worry him. Smashy having a bit of trouble with some of the spitter cycles, similar to how she did in the first race. That'll give Richard some extra potential chance to catch up. Also, her health management is now in not the best of spots. It'll be fine for this early key duplication trick, but it will not be fine for her second rotation through this area. Let's see. Now, if you're too far away from this door, you will not get the duplication, but she nailed it perfectly. It's a lot more precise than it looks, but certainly something that we wouldn't expect veteran runners to mess up too much. Of course, Richard had trouble with it last run.
Yeah, definitely at this point, already down 30 seconds as opposed to much closer in the last race. He really can't afford to make that same mistake. So
I don't know, man. It's pretty similar to how it was last time, and Richard did get the key duplication successfully this time. So we are seeing pretty much a repeat of last race at this point, because he caught up a little bit of time after Bash. You can see he's just doing his second pass through this room with the keys as Smashy is leaving the area, which is pretty much how it went last time.
All right, Smashy making her way out of here. Roughly, it seems to be about the halfway point of the run. Yeah, it seems like he might have made up a little bit of time on her throughout that last section of the Ginzo tree.
Yeah, minor bits here and there that have hopefully cut the lead or rather cut his deficit by just a little bit. Now Smashy coming up to that swamp entry trick. We've seen the runners be pretty consistent so far tonight. Smashy getting trolled once by a shot. In particular, the double bash method that she uses does sometimes lead towards more of the frog's shots going through the ceiling. So it may be something she's more used to, as opposed to when it happens to, say, Richard, who's doing this on controller. It's not quite the same. Now we'll see Smashy on the right side. Take a look at her attempt. Breaks the barrier, baits out a second shot, launches the shot in one direction, and then follows it via a frame-perfect trick and does two in a row. Great job from Smashy. Now Richard taking his attempt immediately after. And we'll see how he does. Has to take damage to bash the frog out of the spikes. Now doing his controller setup instead of using double bashes. And he's looking great. 3 for 3 tonight from Richard.
I swear he's playing a VOD. Every time it looked exactly the same. So great job by him.
Want to show the lead difference here. As you see, Richard is now entering into that swamp area. You can see just moments ago, so was Smashy. So not a big difference at all between these two.
Yeah, and as they're coming up here, we got some other people coming in the chat. I want to remind you guys, this is Speedrunning Underground, a weekly speedrunning show put on by myself, Spikevegeta, and JHobz 296 here as well. We're commentating matches of all different skill levels across all different games. Any of you who want to throw down, there is prize money on the line. Any bits donated during the course of this run, any cheering you guys do, a portion of that will go to the winner of the given race of that week. Right now, we're in our best 2 out of 3. Richard, on your left side, he was able to take the first win. Smashy, though, was able to take the second match in a very close race. Currently is holding the lead by right around, I would say, 30 seconds right now.
I actually want to come in with an update from my Vooligan in the truck in chat, who says that there was actually a 17-second difference between these two at the stomp tree. So Smashy, if she misses the Kuro cutscene skip, which she does,
oh my god,
she's going to go for it a second time. If she gets this on the second attempt, she will still save time over not going for it at all. However, it costs her about 17 seconds to watch this cutscene. So if Richard gets this first try, Smashy does get it second try, by the way. If Richard gets it first try, this lead will be cut in more than half. Doesn't like the first shot. He does like the second, and he's through. 3 for 3 for Richard tonight. And wow, what a race we got now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a super duper hype race right now. This has been a great 2 out of 3. And Smashy
dies back to a safety save where Richard is at the same location. He had to go pick up that fifth health cell. So now Smashy picking up her 5th energy cell right before Richard does. Both have to worry about those deadly spikes. They kill you at any health whatsoever. And wow, just moments apart already for this race.
And if I'm not mistaken, that is the health cell that Smashy normally does not pick up.
Correct.
So she's going to have to pick up a slower one, or a quicker one later in the run.
Yeah, a
Only
faster
costs
one
few
overall,
seconds.
but oh man, and having to dodge a Frankie. At this point, Richard will have a safer time in Sorrow. Oh my god, we are tied at this point.
We are tied, and again, Smashy is going to have to spend about 5 or so seconds grabbing a health cell at the end of the run. Maybe a little less than that. But still, guys, absolutely insane race. This is the best 2 out of 3, the third match, and it's this freaking close. Oh my gosh.
Smashy just barely doing a bit better with that save anywhere trick there. I'm not sure if Richard, I believe he, actually she doesn't blow up the wall in the on the first shot and had to wait for a second one to charge. She's still just barely maintaining that lead though, but it's anybody's game as we come into some of the hardest tricks in the run.
Yeah, we definitely a big trick coming up. We got 2 big tricks coming up in Sorrow Bash and the Fast Stompless that have given each of these different players fits tonight. Smashy having troubles with Sorrow Bash in the first attempt of the night, and Richard having some troubles with the Fast Stompless in the first.
Smashy is currently sitting on 2 health. There drops a nice safety save. If she didn't save there and got hit by one of these birds, she would have died. But luckily, she avoids the damage altogether. Richard did not go for the safety save, but he does place one here instead because he likes to level up Charge Dash just a little bit earlier than Smashy does. But now, Richard and Smashy are both going for Fast Stompless. We have not seen Richard have the best success rate so far tonight, but we have seen it perfectly from Smashy both times so far. Here we go. Ooh, a very low spider shot from her. She's not going to make it up to the cell. She reloads and goes for it again because she placed an extra safety save. Richard, meanwhile, if he gets this first try, he's taking the lead away, and he does not, so he has to go for it again as well.
Oh my gosh, this turn of events, ladies and gentlemen. So he's working up to bust down this rock.
He's
on the Kiro
opting
right now
to completely avoid going for it. Smashy's going to go for it a second time because she needs this ability cell up here. Had she let herself get warped in the cutscene last time, she would have missed it. Wow! What a minor lead!
Double badge!
Oh my
We got
god.
2 birds with 2 headaches on screen right now. That's my favorite replay of all time.
Let's just look at how close this is. Just moments before Richard. Oh god.
I'm gonna take a drink of water real quick. 'Cause this is too
I know, dude. Unbelievable. I'm speechless. Both runners opting for the safety save on the Spirit Well because they took all those saves along the way. Now, Smashy had to level up Charge Dash. Richard had already leveled it earlier. He goes for a lower frog. She goes for an upper frog. Richard gets enough height. He's going to go up and make a save on the left. Smashy kills her frog. She has to go down for the bottom one or reload and try again. No. She opts for the bottom one. Let's see if she actually knows how to do this because it's not as free as it looks. And there we go. She does. But she kills the bird. Cannot leave any of these enemies alive. Please have mercy, Smashy, at least so you can get through the game. She's now sitting low on energy as well and has to go through Sorrow Bash with a bird that's already taken damage. Richard, meanwhile, first try, gets on through. Smashy has a little bit more trouble with Sorrow Bash so far. She will hopefully get through on this attempt. And there it is. She's nice and cleanly through. Great job from Smashy, but not great enough because Richard has taken that lead. We're going to switch over to his audio for the time being. Wow.
Yeah, unbelievable. A lot of crazy turn of events, though, but through all of it, definitely gave the lead back to Richard. Now, all of a sudden, it's his race to lose, but we got a lot of potential deaths and just movement all throughout the rest that both players have to.
Additionally, Spike, Smashy is completely out of energy. She could not place a safety save like she has in both previous races, but she does get through this spiky section. She's not completely out of the woods. This frog could potentially troll her, but she probably will be fine heading over to Charge Jump, where she will get both a save and a refresh on her health and energy.
Okay, again, very clutch on her part. Could not afford a death. That would have sent her back before Sorrow Bash, correct?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. She might have placed one safety save right after Sorrow Bash. Wasn't quite able to check, but man, what a close race we got going on here. Richard's picking up Sunstone. Smashy's going to be heading there very shortly. She has to first do that Terra Break trick. Once again, just a trick to open the ceiling because ordinarily the game expects you to stomp it from below, or from above rather. But we're going to open it from below by saving up at the top of the ceiling using a charge dash, or charge jump rather, into the spikes, maintaining that kind of effect of the charge jump through the death. Don't ask me why it works, but it does.
We're seeing once again just how dynamic this speed game is. Again, a lot of people might have seen early on Richard takes that death getting to the dash ability and thinking, all right, this race is basically over. That was such a huge death. Now looking at these huge lead changes.
Oh my god, his 5th health just saved him. The fact that he got that early 5th health saved his life off those spikes because they deal 4 damage. Unbelievable. Richard barely lucking out in that situation. By lucking out, I mean making a good strategic choice to get that health.
Sure, yeah, it wasn't all just like, this isn't Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, that game sucks. But moving on, Smashy moving down as well, still keeping...
Oh, Richard stopping into spikes, but barely saves himself in the end.
Recommended in the player's guide of this game. Never stop into spikes, ladies and gentlemen. All right, looks like he's just gonna lightly make his way over to this first.
He's completely out of energy. He wanted to use that energy for a safety save. This means he cannot charge dash at the enemies to save himself a lot of time. He has to dash along the ground or bash off of them in the air. Now, Smashy, meanwhile, I believe has been managing her energy quite nicely so far, so she might be able to catch some time up as she heads towards climb, because Richard is going to have to stop and pick up some energy or completely avoid using those charge dashes. He did pick up some extra.
Her movement was pretty good there. She snagged a little lip of the spikes right there.
Oh, he stomped right into the spikes, Richard. What are you doing? The Madman finally makes it through to climb. And God, if Smashy manages to continue her clean play through Misty, she's definitely saving time up to this skill tree. Richard's unbelievable health management, I will call it, so far since Sorrow has been insane, and hopefully he doesn't give me a heart attack because he keeps trying to die in as many ways as possible.
Scary dropping down here through Smashy, sitting on that 1 health and 1 energy, but is going to safely get over to wall climb herself.
Oh, once again, Richard just barely not dying. That has been the story of Misty Woods for him so far. He is having to drop another safety save. He's already down in energy that he didn't want to lose earlier, so he's kind of having to play it improvised from this point on in terms of where he uses energy and then where he dashes into slimes and takes damage. The spikes here all deal 3 damage, and he has 3 health. If he doesn't drop another safety save, there it is, and he is getting 2 health back per save now that he's leveled up far enough in that ability tree. Meanwhile, Smashy still clean in Misty.
Yeah, sitting there right now by my count, about a 29-second lead for Richard after wall climb. We'll see. I believe Smashy has maybe made up just a little bit of time. Her Misty Woods has been pretty good so far. And I don't know necessarily how much time he's lost, but Richard's definitely had a sketchy Misty Woods, if nothing else. Coming up here on this boss fight, let's see, and demolishes that
much
That's
better
what we like to see.
Than the last two attempts for Richard. Of course, was not the fastest kill possible. I believe Smashy does go for that. We'll see. Oh man, she takes damage and then immediately dashes by accident, resetting her invincibility frames and dying to one of the meatballs on the wall. Luckily, she placed a safety save, but oh god, almost does it again. She's gonna have to take the slow way up with just tons of spaghetti in that meatball chef, not letting her through cleanly. See what I did there?
You waited all right. Yeah, dude.
All right.
All right. Moving her way through. Okay, so we have got Richard, the first one out of the forest, now making his way back over. I'm going to call it right this time. Making his way back over to the area where we got Dash, going down into the second half of the dungeon, where we're going to get our final ability of the game, or our final skill of the game, the Light Grenade.
And that death possibly shook Smashy up a little bit because she had a very rough Misty mini-boss after it.
Yeah, at this point, starting to run out of time. Do you find there are really much of any lead changes?
I would love to talk about it, but Richard was sitting on 1 health and dies to the spikes, so unfortunately he gets sent back. Great time opportunity for Smashy when she gets to that point. He's still sitting on 3 health now. I believe those spikes do 2, so even if he hits him this time, he'll be fine. He didn't. Oh man, he had to dump an energy just to get through that laser cycle. It was so close. Luckily, he still has enough to skip this cutscene. If we saw this cutscene from either runner, it would be a 75-second time loss. Meanwhile, Smashy is on 1 health as she enters into Black Root Burrows. She will get a little bit of it back from an upcoming save. However, it's still not the kind of ideal situation. Richard
barely slipping by some spikes right there.
She wants to take that death intentionally. If you take a look on the very right side of Smashy's screen, you can see a door moving upwards slowly. That's because of that death after placing a save. Just glitches out that door for her. But she gets through cleanly through the Yoka laser cycle, passes right by Richard as he heads on out. And she should be fine getting up to Light Grenade. Now, Richard having trouble with a rocket jump is going to have to really solidify his movement if he's going to keep this lead.
Yeah, and looking like from another boy in my truck over here, we got Nannerpuss saying we got about a 39-second lead right now. That's looking like, yeah, about lined up with what I was thinking off of getting the Light Grenade right there. Okay, you're going to see Richard, you would assume, again, knows what's going on. Oh, he's already sitting on 6 health, so you figure won't bother with the 7th health at this point.
He picked up the Black Root Burrow's health just before teleporting. Wow, he's already down to 1 energy, though, and he's going to have to wait on these 2 to fly to him. Yeah, so he's still not at the optimal energy that he would like to be. Smashy also having to wait on cycles, though, and she'll probably be going 6 health, I would imagine, but maybe we'll see the same kind of gutsy call from her that Richard made last time. Oh god, Smashy is going to take a death to this boulder. It does instantly kill you. She did place a nice safety save right before it, but has trouble with the jump again. This is not what she needs in order to catch up in this race at the moment. Oh god. Richard entering Mount Horu, Smashy trying to get there as fast as she can.
All right, Richard, this is his race to lose at this point. He's definitely taking control. Door Warp is going to be big here. Now, the consistency from these players on Door Warp tonight has been absolutely insane, considering it's a 1-frame trick.
We have not seen a miss tonight, and Richard keeps the tradition going. Great job from him. Now he will be heading into that final escape. Smashy on the right side. Let's see. She does still go for that 6 health. Not comfortable with the 5 HP swim at the final escape. So not going to save that time over Richard.
Yeah, at this point, we're going to need to see a lot of spaghetti from Richard in this final escape sequence to allow Smashy the opportunity. She is going once again for this other grenade jump.
Misses on the first attempt, then forgoes it completely. Deciding to move over to the door. Not quite having the cleanest of movements, but Richard on the left side, let's talk about him because he's into the final escape. He's sitting on 1 energy. He needs to save at least half an energy for the final grenade jump. Keep that in mind. Hopefully he will be able to do that. And now he's heading into the damaging water. 2 damage, 3 damage, 4 damage, and he's out of the water, so didn't even need that 6 health this time. He'll be climbing up this wall. And
able to despawn Kuro.
His attempt. He doesn't go for it. He completely skipped the grenade jump altogether. He decided, I have enough of a lead. I've got that 35-second padding. I can take the victory here. And Smashy is still having trouble with Door Warp, so it looks like the right call for Richard, and Smashy this time does get through. But man, what a gutsy call, because, you know, for all he knew, it was just slightly off. There is that twitch delay. It's hard to be 100% sure that you do have that good enough padding. Man, Richard, it will probably, I imagine. Yeah, it should be plenty good enough to get him the victory here, but what a close race from these two.
Yeah, really unbelievable performances by these players, but we're not done yet. Let's see Smashy coming up on her final escape right here, fully into it. She barely dodged this fire pillar last time, yet is going to elect to just climb the wall to the right.
Oh, had trouble with it, though. And has trouble breaking this wall as well.
Let's see, where is her? I wonder what her energy is at right now, because again, that does use energy. Those attacks right there, the charge flame. We'll see. Okay, going into the water right now. And has her 6 health and is able to get out of the water.
No problems for her. Nice job. She's got to go for that final grenade jump now as Richard finishes up with a 34-10. Great job for him. And Smashy going to try to cut that lead by a little bit by going for this grenade jump. Fails on the first attempt. Anytime you see one of those grenades pop out, it also means that she spent energy, but she gets it on the second try. No soft lock, and she is through. My God. What a series of races tonight, Spike.
From now on, you're scheduling the races. You did great this week. All right, we got 2 great racers, close in skill level. And, you know, there's part of me looking at, oh, there's like a minute difference between the runners. You know, who really knows? Like, maybe Richard will kind of be comfortably up in a lot of these races. Really unbelievable back and forths from the 2 players. Couldn't ask for more. This was absolutely awesome. So thank you to both of them. Hope you guys enjoyed the races tonight.
Smashy walking off to the right. Final input gives her a 35.04 to finish out the night. And once again, we have another match within a minute. Unbelievable, dude.
Wow. GG, boys and girls. GG. That is... Again, I want to go ahead and plug any of you guys, if you enjoyed Ori and the Blind Forest time, maybe some of you here, maybe this is the first time you've really seen Ori and the Blind Forest as a speedrun, maybe you've seen it casually like on my stream in the past and whatnot. Make sure to go follow Speed Gaming, Speed Gaming 2, Speed Gaming 3, and Speed Gaming 4. A lot of their content right now. They obviously run a lot of tournaments. They are running the Ori and the Blind Forest All Skills Tournament at HobZ. Both these runners right here and 67 or 8 other people are all involved in right now. They're about to go into the bracket phase. I know you guys have a couple different phases that you go through for the tournament. But just got done with pools. So go follow all those channels and check out these matches. You're going to see races hopefully this close. I mean, I don't know if we got lucky tonight or it's just HobZ doing a really good job with scheduling these.
We will definitely have some this close in the tournament, but I'm not sure they all will be because that was pretty damn great. Once again, like the final time difference too being a minute apart in a lot of games would mean like, oh, it wasn't, crazy close or whatever. It wasn't like, I don't know. Sometimes that doesn't really say that it's super close when it's a minute apart. In a game like Ori, it really does, because a lot of the times you're going for all out just to save those 2 seconds at the end of the run, which that like if I don't save that 2 seconds, then I'm done anyways. So even if I die and I lose a minute or I lose 30 seconds or whatever, I have to go for that. So a minute apart is a great time, first of all, but on top of that, you could see throughout that race that there were multiple times where it was far, far closer than that. So, you know what, Spike? I really want to talk to these two. I want to ask them some questions.
Yeah, that's fine. Bring them in.
Because that was an unbelievable race. So I'm going to work on talking to these two and maybe, I don't know, recap the race for us or something, because what a crazy amount of action.
Yeah, for any of us who maybe missed some of the early action, again, we had 3 games for you tonight.
Actually, hold on 1 second, because I just realized that it's going to kill this call when I add them in. So give me a second here. And,
okay.
Yeah, we'll be back with Spike in just a moment. But let me add some others to this call. Smashy and Richard. I got to hear from both of them because, oh man, dude, what a race! And am I not friends with Richard on this? Okay. I think I got Smashy in here. Smashy, you there? Maybe I've got Smashy.
I heard something move.
I think it's also trying to do your webcam, Spike, and it's like messing with things.
Once again,
we'll see. Richard is not letting me add Richard for some reason. Okay, are we able to hear from... is that Smashy's keyboard I'm hearing, or... Smashy, you there? Not hearing her. Might be... Okay, she's not able to hear anything either, so... Might be a mic issue. Sorry, folks, technical issues, but I do want to talk to these guys, so... Alright, Spike, it's trying to load your webcam in Discord. Kill that. There we go. You're able to hear me, right, Spike?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, Richard, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hey, there's Richard. Okay, and Smashy was having trouble hearing anything, so she's restarting Discord. We'll be hearing from her in a moment. But, man, Richard, first of all, congratulations on the victory, man.
Ooh-wee. What a race.
That was crazy. I hope Smashy.
I was watching that last one. Oof.
I hope Smashy's able to hear us this time.
Okay.
Hey, there we go.
Yo.
What's up, Smashy? Sorry that you took the loss there, but what a great series of races. Like, you should be very proud of that, because that was
a lot
awesome.
of fun. I'm glad I won at least one so we could do the 3.
Yes.
So.
Oh my god, that was... And it was so close every race, too. Like, I was hoping that we would get this, but I was not expecting it by any means, because we all know how Ori can be and how easy it is to have wildly different runs. But
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with my times actually. So.
all right, well, I want to jump to like a couple of specific moments, but also just kind of questions about the matches overall in general and stuff. So let's first start with after match 1. Richard, how are you feeling being up 1-0? Were you planning anything differently going into the second match? Were you feeling pretty good, or do you think you got complacent? Anything like that?
Yeah, so after game 1, I actually sent notes to you, Hobbs, earlier, and I believe you shared those with Spike. And
Yeah, thank you for that, by the way. Yeah.
yeah, no problem. I wasn't sure about your experience with Ori, so I was like, I'll write it a little bit beginner-friendly for you. But
Sure.
anyways, the second match, I said I was going to go for a new cutscene stack in the Blackroot Burrows area.
Oh, maybe I should have read
which
those
includes
notes.
some blind movement.
Because I was surprised.
I'll take a
I
little bit
read
more
it and I
risk.
was like, Hobbs probably read this, right? I was thinking, right, like, whatever.
Yeah, but I was taking a little bit more risk in game 2, as you saw. I also went 5 health. Smashy just... I was trying to catch up to Smashy. I took an early death in game 2, and that just
Yeah.
sent me off.
I debated whether to take that 6 health, and I'm really happy I did.
What's funny is that I think
I would've died.
in the second match. Oh yeah, that's right. You did bonk, and it was very close.
We both bonked at the
Yeah.
same spot, but I had 6 health, so.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Now, I want to also let you guys know. I knowing you guys, you're going to end up watching it back anyways. But I do want to let you know that it was like unbelievably close in all 3 matches at various points. So like in the second match in particular, you were virtually tied at key dupe, I believe. Or no, sorry. In the first match in particular, you were virtually tied.
They're all running together.
I know.
They're all so close. There were 2 different races. I want to say the first and the third one where Kuro was getting the rocks bashed on her head at the
third
exact
one, yes.
same time.
Yeah. So
That's
2
dumb.
different races where that happened. I went, and that's 2/3 of the way into the race. That was yeah, we were popping off over here. We were busting out our Red Bulls.
yeah, I literally had to go get a Red Bull because before that third match because I knew it was going to be exciting. Now, okay, so
Ori's just such a scary game. We wanted to go through it together, so that's why we kind of just stayed pace with each other throughout the whole game.
now one thing I do want to highlight is Smashy, how unbelievably clean your Misty Woods looked in pretty much all 3 races, but especially the second and the third ones, because you were either catching up or gaining more time if you were already ahead on Richard throughout Misty Woods both times. I didn't even see like a lot of safety other than kind of 1 or 2 common saves. How do you feel like that's normally how things go for you, or was that just kind of like putting on the afterburners and just firing on through the game?
I mean, they usually go pretty well. I didn't take any extra safety saves. The one I take after the 4th keystone is a normal one in case I don't make that rocket jump, which it happened a couple times.
Yeah, it came in handy the third time, the third race.
Yeah.
Excellent. And Richard, fast stompless, man. Come on.
Oh man, Fast Stompless is like the bane of my existence. So, having not read my notes, but I did put in my notes, I was actually thinking of avoiding Fast Stompless in my races if I was far enough ahead. But unfortunately, Smashy just keeping pace with me wasn't able to.
You were never far enough
skip
ahead.
Fast Stompless, yeah. And like I only got it in 1 race, and I was like feeling pretty bad about that. But
I did miss it on the
Yeah.
last one, but I reloaded because I have a save right there.
Yeah, you actually both missed it. Smashy,
Yeah.
you reloaded. Richard had to run back and well, Smashy, you were gonna get it. You just missed the cell. You were gonna.
No, the spider shot went really low for some reason.
Oh, it did,
And I didn't
okay.
double bash it. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but
Oh well, yeah, no. I mean, the shot was gonna hit the rocks though.
right.
But yeah, and then Richard had to like go and stomp on him, and you guys were like 1 second apart. It was absolutely incredible. One other thing I want to get before I give Spike a chance to ask a question or two.
Sure.
Is I do want to ask Richard. So in that third game, how certain were you that you had enough of a lead in order to avoid the final grenade jump? Because
okay, so
it was a little close. Like Smashy had some trouble with door work, but if she had a first try, it would have been pretty close.
I've done quite a bit of homework on the amount of time it takes when a player gets to the end of the game and does their door warp, and I've spent maybe like a good 3 or 4 hours thinking about this and watching people's runs to see where the 35-second mark is. And if the player hasn't started the escape yet, I am comfortable
Okay.
going to the end without doing grenade jump, because it's not like I like soft lock all the time, but even if it's just 1%, like why risk the 1% of losing when you can just guarantee the victory at that point?
Right. Unless maybe on PB pace or something, which unfortunately didn't happen. But it's crazy because in the second match, it could have been decided by grenade jump, I believe. Smashy, unfortunately, spawned Kuro. And how are you feeling there, Smashy? Do you know the backup to...
Yeah, that's what I was trying to go for, but
Okay.
I didn't dash high enough, and then it just pulled me in. So I was like, well, I hope this works.
That's what it looked like to me, and oh man, that was
And it sure
close.
did.
Unfortunately,
It sure did.
Richard with the 5 health.
Gutsy
Gutsy
Oh,
call,
yeah.
man. I still think that was the right call. I'm not like, I wouldn't throw you under the bus on that one because I probably would have done the same thing. You had to catch up every second you could, and
with the Ori tournament, I made a lot of thought on basically the final minutes of the game, because that is really the make or break point in this game, because there are just so many execution hard tricks, and making that play call while you're like under the pressure of watching your opponent is pretty tough. But
yeah.
all
right, now Spike, I know I've been taking the reins on this one because I'm a little more familiar.
No,
Any
no,
questions?
yeah,
for,
you're amped up, dude. I was letting it ride. I liked it. No, I want to so. People talk about, people who watch GDQs and just speedrunning in general, we hear all the time, oh, this is a frame perfect trick. This is a frame perfect trick. I am right that door warp is a frame perfect trick, correct?
Yes.
That
is a this is a 60 FPS game, right?
0.016 seconds.
So how are you two so goddamn consistent at that? Because every time I was like, all right, here's the option. Nope, it's not. All right, they're just doing it. All right, they are destroying it every single time. Do you both pride yourselves on feeling pretty consistent at that? Because I feel like I've seen other people try it 3, 4, 5, 6 times and not get it. Is there some sort of a setup that you find? I mean, it's just, I don't think it's even a visual. What is it?
Yes, it is in fact a visual cue when the screen fades fully to black.
Yes.
So there are some people that will try to menu quickly, and there's an audio cue as well, but the music actually messes me up. I try to remove my headphones every single time I try to do door warp, so that I can just solely focus on the visual cue. So just hone my senses in on seeing when the screen fades to black and then pressing the up input at that time.
Yeah, I use the visual cue as well. And then I also time it that way, so.
These god gamers over here. I don't like to play frame perfect tricks. I'm like, yeah.
I'm with you, man. It's
anyway,
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Any final questions, Spike, as we let these guys take a well-earned break?
I was about to say, yeah, I just want to thank you guys for coming on tonight. Thanks for playing along. Y'all were game tonight. I guess the last question I just want to ask you guys is just, I'm a theater person. I come from a theater background. What were the emotions? Are you guys, was it just kind of this excitement? Oh, I'm playing video games with my friend. Was there this competitive edge to it where, okay, yeah, but fuck that Richard guy. He sucks. We're going to take him down.
Just a friendly competition, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We, in the last Ori and the Blind Forest tournament, actually, last year, both of us went 0-3 in our groups. So we've improved a lot in the last year, and I'm just glad that we can put on a good show for everyone.
Yeah, well, that's so cool to see, like, that storyline for people here in chat, like, going from both these players were 0-3 in pools players last year in Ori and the Blind Forest, and now they just razzle and dazzled you guys with a really, really good show on both sides. Like, I wouldn't know. And that's the great thing, I think, about, I know I'm promoting our own event here on our fucking event, so whatever. But that's the thing about Speedrunning Underground, is I want you guys to be able to look at the people that are not just the world record holders of these given games. Be like, oh, last week, Tones Ballones put on a great show and lost last week. You'd never even know. Just really getting to show up all these different skill levels up and down the games, how big these communities have become. Again, guys, make sure you give both of these players a follow. They're both going to be in the Ori and the Blind Forest, or they're both in the Ori and the Blind Forest tournament, rather. Everybody in this call except for me. I'll just be watching. But that was awesome, guys. Thank you so much. That was really good. So
thank you.
That was great. Thanks for joining, and thanks for agreeing to the best 2 out of 3, because I think that really highlighted just exactly what this game could be like. And Richard, of course, your check's in the mail.
Yeah.
Get you those bits. Because
I'll give you that. I think you threw in a couple yourself right at the beginning. So. That return on investment, pretty good. So.
All right. Well, thanks. I'm gonna go ahead and kick you guys out of the call.
Bye.
So, bye. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
All right. What a great week 3. And
Yeah,
really...
that was amazing. That was so good to see. And like you said, just placement wise, where would both of them be on the leaderboard for all skills? Like, are they top 50 players? Are they top 40 players? Do you know?
Let me double check because I've still got it open. We've got Richard with 24th place and Smashy with 28th place. So
yeah, not even top 20 players, and that was amazing to watch. It's in a way I almost want to project this on marathons, not just GDQs or marathons in general. Like just because someone's lower down the leaderboard, they put on an amazing show for you guys. So
yeah, very happy with it. And why don't we go ahead because we're actually ahead of schedule for once when it comes to we're on the ball when it comes to scheduling rather. Why don't we give a little taste of what next week is going to be, which is going to be actually a Plague Knight from the Shovel Knight game, the Plague Knight campaign. And we're going to be seeing Mumuakai take on Munchakoopas, who are both also conveniently in a Plague Knight tournament that is also taking place on Speed Gaming, I believe.
What do you know?
So they're both going to be super practice, and it should be a very exciting match as well. Now, the only kind of weird kink about next week is that it's not going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern. Both the runners work at Muncha being on the West Coast and Mumu having very late night schedules means that we're going to actually start at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. All right, folks. So 11:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Pacific is when we'll be starting up next week, March 14th on Wednesday. But you're still going to get tons of content from Spike in between now and then, so I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Yeah, guys, we're going to be going all week long. Again, any of you guys who threw down any bits, those also go towards my MoMAM goals, so you don't have to feel like you kind of wasted it in any way, or like, not wasted it, but like put it towards other things. It's getting split up too much. So, yeah. But check it out, guys. We're actually going to be streaming later tonight as well. We're actually going to be doing kind of a weird restream thing. Well, we'll tweet it out when we kind of work out the details. But yeah, super look forward to Shovel Knight next week. Again, it'll be the Plague Knight version of the game, like Plague of Shadows, I think is the name of
that's the name.
I nailed it, sick. Yeah, that is a game, like, if you guys have played Shovel Knight, this is a very different kind of playthrough. Lots of cool movement tech and stuff in there. And 2 good friends of ours in Mumu and Muncha. We look forward just to get to talk to them again. I haven't talked to Mumu in like a year. So, but yeah, that was awesome. Thank you guys for watching. And yeah, I think we'll kind of bounce out of here. I don't know if you have someone we want to